Wes up, Wes heads. It's me, Subversu, and I'm here again after another month has passed to continue our journey. That's right, the journey to the West. I'm your special host, Supper Soup. I've already said that. Followed by, and then you guys say
Uh,
things.
I'm your sensual guest, Austin.
Awesome. All right, someone else do it now.
I'm your lovable smallest co-host, Zach, from Zach Rush from redsugarheart.com.
Is that a website? Is that real?
Oh,
You get the
website!
domain? You didn't
No, I
get the
don't
domain.
have a domain. I lied.
He didn't even get the fucking domain.
I'm so sorry, humble viewers. You could shoot me now.
All right.
You can shoot me at ZachRushHeartSugar.com. Kill me / kill me.
/ kill. Also not a domain. Also lied to me. Also die.
Hey, it is a real domain.
Oh, fuck.
All right.
/ kill me is a real domain.
No.
All right. We have two more. We have two more people in the call right now that need to say who they are.
Alright, so flip a coin for us real quick.
Okay. Cool. Derek, heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay. Okay, it's tails. So Taka, you go.
Wahoo! Oh my. Hi everybody. I'm Taka. I do Twitch streaming allegedly. Go follow me for nothing at twitch.tv /Takara Takedown.
Oh, girl, give us nothing.
All right, and Derek.
I'm Derek from youtube.com /WarioFan63. The only thing I've ever known is Nintendo games, so I don't know what I'm doing here. I must have gotten lost.
He was birthed from a beautiful Game Boy Advance womb.
That's true.
That
And
attachment.
And he's not going to get mad that wasn't out when he was a child.
mm-hmm. Ah fuck.
Yes.
Ah fuck. Hold on, Ram gave me a TikTok. I gotta pause the fucking podcast. I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, yeah, this is Journey to the West, the podcast where we watch a episode of not an episode, one of Wes Anderson's greatest hits, starting with his oldest, going all the way into present day. In this episode, we'll be discussing the hit movie Rushmore, a well-known 10 out of 10 feel-good coming of age classic film. That I'm pretty sure is how it was advertised and how people remember it when it came out, which definitely wasn't the case for how we feel.
No, like I cannot disagree on the coming of age story part.
I guess it is a coming of age story.
I guess it is a coming of age story if you had to make the meaning literal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else would it be, and what else could possibly fit the definition of a coming of age story if not for this?
Mm-hmm. That's like fair. Last time we talked,
it's like the archetypal.
Mm-hmm. It just feels like, it just feels weird to give it anything, I suppose. But like that is true. What is it? Last time we did this, I gave a brief little history on the start of it all. This time around, I don't really have a lot to give, other than this is the start of the movie. In this movie, we start to get a bit of filling out of Wes's catalog of actors and some people that will stick around for the rest of Wes's history. Make their first appearances in his second film here, namely Bill Murray, who he originally wanted to show up as Dignan's boss in Bottle Rocket, but he could not get a hold of him because he was driving around. And I guess back in the 90s, if you were out driving long enough, you became truly impossible to get a hold of. And Jason Schwartzman, who people may know for roles as Gideon Graves in any Scott Pilgrim media where he has a voice, and the Spot from the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies, and also pretty much a lot of other Wes Anderson films.
I thought he kind of looked familiar.
Mm-hmm. You know,
The guy from
Yeah.
Klaus.
he's what?
The guy from Klaus.
He's also the guy from Klaus, which is a Christmas film that I barely paid attention to when it was on. But he is in that. He is in that one.
I still am like mystified by the fact that I did not recognize Bill Murray as Bill Murray until he was like roughed up in the movie and like looking gross.
He needs to look
Coming
like
over from
that.
Zombieland. He needs to look like a zombie.
Hmm. He needs to look
It's
like
good for him. It's good for him.
A clean-cut Bill Murray is a stressed Bill Murray.
Wes
Exactly.
Anderson does agree with this mentality, as we will find throughout the many films that he puts him in.
We're slowly connecting to the West.
Yeah. Bill Murray is the center of all this, though he is not the main protagonist of the film. The main protagonist of the film is Jason Schwartzman, as he plays the character Max Fisher, precious baby boy Max Fisher.
Don't call
You know
him
that
that.
Jason Schwartzman has a musical career?
Yeah, I think I did know that.
Really?
I didn't know that, and this is all I really have to say about it. But I'm looking at his Wikipedia page.
Well,
Does it make you feel enlightened, Austin?
A little
Was
bit.
he anywhere in the SpongeBob musical? Yes, no.
No, that's an excellent question.
do you think we could? Do you think we could get Jason Schwartzman to make an intro song for Journey to the West?
God.
Could you imagine?
I think the listeners are already aware that we already have, and that's why they listened to that before we
Before this episode started, they loved the theme song.
They loved
it.
Yeah, they loved the
They
theme.
feel like if they're West heads like us.
Yeah, we all loved the Jason. Thank you, Jason Schwartzman, for making our intro.
Your
And
ears, don't you hear the music?
Oh, and hi, Wes Anderson. We know you're
longtime
listening.
fan of the show, Wes Anderson.
Hi, Bill. I know you're listening as well. I guess Owen Wilson is probably listening. He was barely in this movie. But he did write.
Writer.
He was a writer. He might have been a character, but we're not sure. We couldn't find him.
I have confirmation on that, but like that can come later or that can come now.
I mean, what do you want to say?
Owen Wilson, he does not act in this film, but there are pictures of Owen as a character, as an important character in this film, actually.
That's
Oh,
why I feel like I recognize seeing him, or remember seeing him, even though I can't for the life of me.
what is he? Is he supposed to be like a younger Bill Murray?
No, he's Edward Appleby.
Edward
Oh,
Apple.
right.
Oh god, you're right.
Oh my God, that's very, very interesting. So here's the thing. I have a hard time remembering the names of the characters of Rushmore. So
Dead military husband.
yeah, I know. I remember him now. But I mean just like in terms of me being the guy who has to like do the play-by-play, I don't remember a lot of the names of the characters in this one. And if I am the one doing the play-by-play, I will just refer to Bill Murray as Bill Murray and not what his actual
It's
character.
just a safe bet in all of Wes's movies, just referring to Bill Murray as Bill Murray. Although I do feel a little bad doing that. Like it begins to sound like we're suggesting things about him as a person that are just he's an actor. He's a professional.
I hope we say enough things about Bill Murray, as like comparing him to his like actor roles in his characters that like AI will pick up on it and make bad articles about him.
Popularity that we can poison the chat GPT fucking archetypes.
Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100 listeners so that can be real.
Ah, yes, that is the
That's
threshold
the
for which that will
threshold.
happen.
We only need 100 listeners, and then they'll legally let us start building a radio station.
Mm.
Oh, we were gonna wait until we got permission? Shit.
I mean, yeah, we can
I
just...
already got the big ass fucking tower. Shit.
Yeah, we're just gonna put it.
We're gonna put up this tower.
Yeah.
I've got this extending rod that comes out of this van.
You can't be. Listen. You can't just be like flinging your rod out of a van, man.
It makes you sound bad.
How else? Never mind.
You can't say this on the podcast.
You can't say that on air, man. Hey, man, you can't say that on air.
Say that on air.
We're gonna get in trouble. Were you gonna talk about the KKK again?
Oh,
Why
no.
do you make it sound like I'm the one who brought this up? Wait, hold on. I am the one who brought that up.
Literally,
Alright, you know what? We can move on.
Anyway, just so everyone knows, we had cut KKK content. Regardless, moving on.
If you subscribe at tier 3, you can gain access to it. Just direct message Soup.
Just direct
with
message.
$50.
Message me with $50, and I'll give you the cut content folder.
This bit sucks so much.
It's a good bit.
Remember, faithful listeners, if you e-beg to Soup, it's only fair.
Yeah, you begged me. Beg me, and I'll do anything for you. Maybe I might not do anything for you. So Max Fisher.
So that movie.
So the movie Rushmore. I guess like, all right. I'm gonna reiterate, that I've seen Rushmore like maybe 10 times in my life. Many times have I've seen this movie. I understand its plot and its flow completely. My brain may cut things out to just talk about the things that are like pure insanity. So if anyone else noticed that I'm skipping things or saying a character's name wrong or not remembering a character's name wrong, it is on you people to help me.
Well, I mean, I can't help you.
Or situation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help you and remind you that the movie opens on a math class.
Yeah.
Oh,
It opens on math class with a teacher drawing shit on the chalkboard, and when the kids go, and they point at like a different chalkboard, and they go, "What's this?" And he goes, "Oh, that's the hardest equation in the world. No one's ever been able to solve it. But if you guys solve it, I'll let you have Oreos and ice cream, and no more school forever." And
if you guys solve it, I'll let you have CBD oil for dogs.
I'll give you all CBD oil for dogs if you solve my equation. And all the kids start immediately sweating, and their pupils dilate, and they start dry heave, and they start breathing really heavily.
Because they're all really bad CBD oil for dogs addicts.
Yeah.
Because that was an epidemic back in that time.
That was a famous epidemic back in the 90s. Regardless, Max, the only non-CBD oil for dogs addict, closes his newspaper and goes, "I can solve it," and proceeds to solve it.
He's also drinking tea, like actively drinking tea.
Drinking tea.
This is the first Wes Anderson character opening.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion, this is the first one that's like, this is the Wes Anderson character introduction.
You don't think
like,
that Anthony's like fake escape from the mental hospital was like a good Wes opening?
I'm not saying
I feel like that opening was definitely giving us more of an idea of like Dignan than
Yeah.
Anthony?
I mean, frankly, this doesn't give us a particularly good idea of Max, if we're spoilers, if we're honest. But like,
I mean, it kind of does, as a person who would imagine this scenario.
Oh yeah, it's wow, spoiling the resolution of this scene here, huh? But like, I don't know, the like, this feels very much more archetypal. I'm not saying that the others weren't. I'm not saying that the opening scene to Bottle Rockets was not like a very good character-driven introduction uh, to both Dignan and Luke Wilson's character, whose name I cannot remember. But
Anthony.
I'm the only Anthony apologist here. How could I forget? But this one just feels very archetypal. This is the like defining fucking thing that everyone then considers like all other Wes Anderson character introductions to be like derivatives of. At least that's how I view this, because when I looked at that, I was like, oh, this is the one.
I think Wes continues to get more and more refined and find his footing as we go, but like, yeah, I think it's closer. I think it's certainly closer to what we would expect, what we'll come to expect out of Mr. Anderson. But you know, Taka, fucking spoiler hog she is, did ruin the fact that after they cheer for poor baby Max Fisher, he wakes.
He successfully solves it immediately, and it's a wow. That's the right thing. Congratulations.
And everyone's cheering for him, and he's happy, and he's finally at peace. But the cheering, he comes to his senses, and he realizes it was all a dream, and that the cheering wasn't for him, but it was for a speech some halfwit gave at church. And he's being jangled awake by his little friend. And he starts clapping as the person leaves the stage, and a new speaker is introduced to the stage, and this is where we meet Bill's character. Does any
Herman, what's the last name?
Bloom.
Herman Bloom. Yeah, Mr. Bloom, Herman Bloom, Bill Murray.
Oh, okay. So the math scene.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but that's actually our first moment of seeing somebody who was in Bottle Rocket. This is our first moment of a Wes shared actor scenario. That the teacher was in Bottle Rocket as the guy getting robbed at the bookstore.
Yeah, I was going to assume it was probably going to be the teacher, if anyone else.
And the teacher...
How many kids showed up in Bottle Rockets other than all the full-grown adults?
Uh-huh.
They're also kids.
The teacher, I've also learned, is also, in real life, Kumar's son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome, man.
The legacy of Kumar.
It's like something about the early Wes films where they just like, where it's just people that Wes knew for real are like any amount of actual people in the movie is like really charming to me.
It is really charming. We
need to go back.
I really wish that Hollywood would just do that more often.
Also, it says here that wasn't actually Jason's handwriting. They tried to teach him how to do like calligraphy and fancy handwriting, but it just didn't pick up. So you can kind of tell when he's finishing the math problem that the handwriting looks a little worse than how fancy it is up top. So that's that's just a little moment where they like, Jason, we have to teach you how to write nicely, and it couldn't work.
Do we know?
I feel that genuinely.
Do we know how Wes picked up Jason?
Yeah, actually, he was like looking. He actually said that he looked like he was looking in like England and Scotland and all that, Canada, for somebody to be Max Fisher, and he was like, uh, I don't know, I can't remember if he was ready to give up, or like if he had somebody in mind from those, and was just kind of like mulling over who it should be. But then he came back to Los Angeles, and Jason put his thing in there, and Wes was like, oh my god, it's you, you're the guy, it has to be you.
Uh-huh. All right.
So he spent so much time searching in other countries that the first guy who shows up when he comes back to America is like, and Wes is like, you're the one, you're my guy.
It was right at home the whole time. That's
No.
and then he stole that boy and made him one of his permanent slaves to the film world. Uh
And Owen also says that when they started writing Rushmore, he had like a younger Wes in mind for Max Fisher, but Jason Schwartzman, being who he is, sort of changed that perspective to him. So he started writing it around how Jason was instead of how Wes was.
uh-huh. I
Did he
see.
literally see himself in Max Fisher?
So Owen Wilson was trying to write Max Fisher like it was a younger Wes Anderson, and then
Fucking imagine.
and then he looked at Jason Schwartzman and went, "I'll try to put some of Jason's vibes into the character too," and I'm glad to say that they steered away from making Max like Wes, because like this movie is going to imply a lot of things. That would imply a lot of things.
Would imply
I don't
a
know,
lot.
are we happy to imply these about Jason Schwartzman? Like, what are we...
No,
It's
Wes.
okay.
Look, listen, Wes. Okay, we're kind of I'm gonna get ahead of ourselves if I talk about this moment. So I'll just let the movie play out
Mm.
before I mention that.
As far as the audience listening to this concerned, poor baby Max Fisher is just our sweet baby Max Fisher who can do no wrong. And we should keep it that way, and for now.
Alright, so Soup's the apologist in this episode.
Sure, yeah,
Does he always have to be the apologist?
sure, I can do that.
Fine.
So some Mr. Bloom, Bill Murray gets on stage, uh, and he gives a speech, and his speech is about how is about the school, and he talks to the kids at the school. There's like this they talk about Rushmore, gets into lets the audience understand that it's like kind of like a private school, and how people,
Extremely prestigious private school.
yeah, extremely,
Like, ridiculous.
and that people who are here are either because they're talented or because their family's rich, and he says to the kids who are here, because of their family, because they're talented and not because they're rich, is that you should kill and eat the rich kids.
So that you can grow strong.
It was put them in the crosshairs.
Yeah, put them in the crosshairs.
Well, buddy.
Hashtag 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And
Take them for all they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
apparently Owen Wilson said that his dad is what inspired this speech.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, his
One
dad
was,
has
you're
those
really cool.
his dad has those kind of speeches, I guess, about targeting the rich and all that. But in practice, he said something like his dad was a little more eloquent about it. And then he overheard his dad saying something about putting them in the crosshairs in like a private conversation, and he thought, hey, that would make a really good line. So he took that and put that in the speech.
Stalking his dad for line deliveries.
Make it sound so sinister.
I can't help but feel like all the people working on Wes Anderson movies are maybe just a tinge insane.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also right for that.
Uh-huh. And but he gives that speech about eating the rich, and it really resonates with poor baby Max. and so he
Who sees himself as a poor doctor's son.
as a poor doctor's son. He is, because he tells people that he's the son of a doctor. Definitely a son of a doctor. But
I
he,
think he just doesn't understand
Mhm.
like general economic conditions.
Mhm. he goes over and he catches up with Mr. Bloom, and he tells Mr. Bloom, "Hey, I really liked your speech," and he says that to him like 3 different times, like over and over again. To which and then he scampers away. To which Mr. Bloom looks at the not the president, the principal of the school, and he's like, "That's a good kid you got there. I like that guy. He's smart." To which the principal, whose name is Mr.
The principal's-
Guggenheim,
Yeah, Guggenheim.
relays to Mr. Bloom that he's the worst student they've ever had. I believe then we cut to a conversation with Mr. Guggenheim and Max about how he's on
No, the montage is first.
the montage. Yeah, we go through a
The montage of all the clubs and the extracurriculars and all the, and of course there's the shot of the fucking uh kids dressed up in kind of racist costumes.
Oh yeah, the fucking culture. What was it? The cultural debate club where they're dressed up as like.
I think it was
Model
Model
UN.
UN, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like Model UN or something like that.
I feel like we should also point out that I think part of the reason Mr. Bloom is like taken in by Max is like he was also the only kid who like cared about his speech, because like that speech ended and Max was up there giving him a standing ovation and everybody else was like sitting quietly and just
As if to.
Yeah, Max provides him the validation that he needs. We'll get there. One time,
Mm-hmm.
and then several times. So
As if
yeah.
as if to imply that he's the only person that understands the longing of wanting to hurt rich people. uh
Also, it is something to point out is this is kind of our first West movie that also takes place over like a known time frame, because right before Max is told about failing classes, we do get told it is currently September.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does tell us like when each month is.
As if a Persona game, Rushmore takes place throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
But after we go through all the clubs that Max is in, and it is a lot of clubs.
A lot of clubs, a lot of extracurriculars.
I think notably of importance, one of the clubs is a beekeeping club.
This will be important later.
This will be important for several reasons later.
Surprise twist.
I think beekeeping and fencing are the only that kind of come back into relevance.
Yeah.
And the plays or whatever.
And
yeah,
French.
the Max Fisher players, yeah, French. I think there was skeet shooting, right?
Yeah, skeet and catch.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was
yeah.
shooting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jogging.
Actually, I think all of these kind of come back into play, except jogging, maybe.
I mean, skeet does not come back into play.
That's not
They
true.
shoot somebody.
Objectively.
Do they shoot so? I forgot.
Spoiler, it absolutely does.
I forgot.
Yeah, and that's actually not to get too ahead of things, but that scene where he's shooting somebody is in the trailer, and it's played like, they take it out of its context as a trailer would do, and play it during the Bill Murray montage in the middle of the movie instead of where it actually is, so it makes you think that that Max is shooting at Bill Murray.
Awesome. I wish he did.
I'm gonna kill that guy.
But we see him in a bunch of things, and then after which we are told that he is doing miserable in actual like important school like classes because he's kind of just swamped himself with extracurricular stuff. And that if he fails another class, he will be expelled from Rushmore, to which he makes a couple cases for himself. And like specifically the thing that he points at for Mr. Guggenheim is that he tries to remind him that the whole reason that he got in here was because he wrote a really killer play. And I forget
About Watergate.
Yeah, about Watergate.
Okay.
When he was like, when he was a child.
Yeah, he wrote a really killer play about Watergate as a child that his mom read and was so impassioned by that she gave it to Rushmore as like a resume. And that's what got him into Rushmore.
It better have been a really good fucking play.
Other things of note is that in what is it? In Jason Schwartzman's like auditions for Rushmore, we get to see a different version of that scene, in which one of Max's other excuses is that he says that he's dyslexic, and that to which Mr. Guggenheim goes, "You're not dyslexic, Max. We've actually checked to see if you're dyslexic, and you're not." And he goes, "But I'm a bad speller. That's not a learning disability, Max." But that's not in the movie. I kind of wish it was. That's a really funny fucking scene. Instead, they just hard cut from that, and it's Max is like talking to his little friend, who I forget the name of.
Dirk Calloway.
Yeah, Dirk.
Yes.
Dirk Calloway. My brain keeps wanting to call him Shemp, but his name is Dirk.
The Fourth Stooge.
Yeah.
What was the original? Okay, look. I'm not going to get into this right now. Excuse.
Oh, Shemp?
Yeah, my brain.
The Forgotten Stooge?
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah, my brain keeps wanting to call him Shemp, which isn't right. Yeah, Dirk Calloway. He's like bitching to Dirk, going, "They want to kick me out of here. They want to kick me out, Dirk. But I'm not gonna let them. I'm gonna make sure I stay. I mean, they can't get rid of me." even though he is, regardless, I think his last year at Rushmore anyway, because he's like,
You can't expel me. I'm innocent.
yeah.
I think he does specifically say that he's going to try and pull some administration strings to stay in.
With the administration so he can stay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it says he's in 10th grade, so if it goes, all the way to high school, he would have about 2 more years at Rushmore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's 15, so he's got 2 to 3 years.
I love that, like, this movie really does just drop you in to understanding how manipulative Max Fisher is and is willing to be.
Because he immediately tries to frame it as him being kicked out for reasons he won't explain, other than they hate me and they want to kill me. And then after this, he is he's doing part of his one of his many jobs at Rushmore, of helping cars get in line to pick up kids. That's just one of the many things he does, I suppose. And he's like, I'm right. This is what he's doing, right? And he's like, is he or at the part where he's like talking to someone's mom, or is he?
Yeah, he's talking to Dirk's mom, who people think is a MILF.
Yeah, and he gets out of the car when Dirk gets there, and someone's talking to him, and they say some shit like, "Man, that mom's really fucking hot," and he goes, "Don't say that. That's my best friend's mom you're talking about." And they go, "Aren't the only reason you're fucking partners with him at church because of his mom?" And he tries to shrug that off or say like, "Well, he doesn't need to know about that," or like some shit.
Because of course it's okay when he does it.
Yeah, it's okay when he does it. And then Mr. Bloom comes in to get his kids, and he like chases him down, and I think he tells him that his speech is nice again. Uh, and he's just like smiling at him real stupid like, and he's happy to be here. And Mr. Bloom looks at him like he says, "How do you do it, Max? You seem like you got your whole life together. What's the secret?" And he goes, "Well, you pick something you want to do for the rest of your life and you do it. For me, that's Rushmore." And like that's supposed to be like a really empowering, like beautiful line, I suppose. When does he tell Mr. Bloom that?
So we've kind of skipped a bit actually.
Yeah.
Because after he's talking about getting expelled, it does immediately go to him like reading and getting told they're gonna teach Japanese instead of Latin, which at current moment he says this is a good thing. Nobody uses Latin. Latin sucks.
Latin's a dead language.
Latin's a dead, stupid language.
And then he sees the quote written in the book. I don't think we get into anything at this point other than like he goes to search for who got the book out, and he like sees the school teacher for the first time, but that's as far as we get there.
Yeah, he sees someone wrote in a book at the school library, and he demands the librarian tell him who checked out this book, and he finds it was one of the teachers, and he just kind of stares at her through her like door window, and then we cut to him doing his like moving of the cars.
Then we get to him doing, very briefly, we get a scene of him kind of directing like a very like shitty play, like very school play ass play. And he's like, "Oh, everybody take a break, go buy some root beers." And then we get to the car part, which, another thing to note is he does give Dirk's mom a fucking business card that he has for himself.
Yeah, he gives his mom a business card if she needs anything from him.
Anything.
Like
Wait.
literally just flirting with Dirk's mom.
And I remember that like Dirk comes up and Max is like, "How was your math test today, Dirk?" And Dirk's like, "Hell, you I didn't have a math test today."
Yeah.
Did you do that report you were supposed to do? Oh, I got an extension. Probably did not get that extension.
And then we actually, right after that, after we show like, I can't remember if I think we just have like Bill Murray's kids kind of think Max sucks, and they're like assholes. And then we actually get like a brief scene at the barber shop with his dad, and Max is like thinking about whether he's doing too many clubs. But then this is where he first has the thought of like, where he's like, "I need to get women."
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody seems to care about, is I need to get women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To which his dad does respond. His dad does respond that Max seems like he's married to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a moment in the barbershop where he's like, "Dad, I failed this." Gives it to him, and the dad.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
at the score, which says 37, and he's like, "Oh well, he almost got an A," as he changes the 3 to an 8.
Really poorly.
It does occur to me, his dad is also kind of like this, huh?
Yeah.
Like, we'll get there, but
I just sort of figured the dad was kind of supportive of his kid, you know? That's
is he supportive, or is it like, is he teaching his kid to do this thing?
I mean, it seems like he did a really bad job at it, so I don't think, like, the dad seems pretty well set in his "I'm just a barber."
The dad doesn't.
He's not really like a liar or a grifter.
The dad wants for nothing other than to cut hair and to live his humble life. Max dreams for the stars.
Yeah.
Now, it is right after this scene where he does. This is the very next scene is him meeting the teacher. I believe her name is Rosemary, and it's him when he meets her on the bleachers.
Yes. He meets her on the bleachers.
Oh yeah, the scene that makes me really fucking mad.
To which he
He lights her cigarette for her.
Yeah.
Lights a cigarette for her. He's got the stupidest fucking red hat on.
his
What
love.
you're
Which
drawing
the
right
teacher
now.
likes for some reason.
Yeah.
The teacher comments that it's a nice hat.
He asks her when she started smoking, and she says about your age. And I think he comments that it might be a bad habit.
Yeah, he suggests that she should quit, and she agrees with him. And one of the only other important things that gets dropped here is that he asks her what college she went to, and she tells him she went to Harvard.
And
he's like, that's my backup school. My fallback. We look at his horrible fuck off grades. And the fact that he is, unlike all of the other fucking kids in this school, not rich.
He's also very clearly reading the ocean book that she wrote in and trying to be like, oh, look at what book I'm reading.
Yeah, that
No,
part
no, he's not. He's not actually. He's reading a different book. Actually,
Yeah, it is a different book.
Is it?
Yeah. Also, the quote that she wrote in there was by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the three primary political philosophers to found sort of the ideas of political liberalism, which might not mean what you think that it means if you are not aware of political sciences, but it's a truly bizarre thing for someone to have written in that fucking margin, at least from what I can fucking see.
Wait, hold on. It was Jacques Cousteau, wasn't it?
That was Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I thought, wasn't it? Or maybe I misread. I can't. Cursive is hard. I could be a dipshit here.
I think it was Jacques Cousteau. I'm pretty sure. It was a Jacques Cousteau book, and she wrote a Jacques Cousteau quote in there, which I don't know why. I figured the quote would be in there or something, but whatever.
Why would she quote the same author of the?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it was a Jacques Cousteau quote in a Jacques Cousteau book.
Perhaps it was from a different book.
But the book he is reading, I don't remember what it was called, but Wes pointed out that this is something that Max probably looked at the title and probably read as far as he did that you can see in the movie and then quit.
Probably.
I'm glad that we have that bit of insight that we can probably assume about his character, but I'm glad that the author can confirm that this is how he is. But other points of contention with that scene is that she hears, I think one of them bring up that Latin's going away, and she's like, oh, that's really sad because it's one of the original languages of love. And then
it's the foundation of romance languages, which doesn't mean that, but that's what he thinks that it means.
Because he's 15 and stupid.
And then she says, and then he tries to play off that he knows some, and then she says some Latin, and he goes, huh? And he goes, it's Latin. Oh yeah, of course. And then I think that's the end of that scene. Rushmore's really hard for me to remember every piece of because there's so many little bits.
Immediately cuts to him trying to get petitions of having people.
Yeah, he's trying to get Latin back immediately. Next thing is he's trying to get Latin back. And then we cut to Bill Murray's kids wrestling and him talking about how he went to Vietnam.
Hold on.
Were you in the shit?
Wait a second. So he does get Latin back. He gets Latin back so hard that it becomes a mandatory class instead of an optional class.
Yeah, right.
And it's interesting to me how when he's giving his presentation to bring Latin back, you can see Dr. Guggenheim listening in. So like, despite that he's definitely in his crosshairs with Guggenheim at the moment, he's still willing to listen and be like, you know what, yeah, Max, we will make Latin mandatory.
So I don't think that Mr. Guggenheim at this point in the film, sorry, it is Dr. Guggenheim at this point in the film has any ill will for Max and is looking at him more like a troubled kid who he hopes can pick himself back up so that he can continue to be here, and is aware of his skills and what he can accomplish, but he also does really need his grades up. I think the part where Max is going around saying Guggenheim has it out for me is just like a lie, and he's just he just look at him like he's a troubled kid and hopes he does better. So he's willing to work with him clearly at this point in the film. But yeah, Max is at wrestling. His kid, Bill Murray, Mr. Bloom's kids are fighting. Also, we did miss the part from Mr. Bloom, I think, or unless we didn't get to that part with them in the car yet. But I think we did, where after he drives off with him and his kids, he's like, why don't you guys invite that Max boy to your party? And they're like, he's a dumb piece of shit, Dad, we don't like him. And then they say something rude to Bill Murray, and then he punches his kid while he's driving.
Which might have been a legitimate emotion. I can't tell.
Might have been a legitimate emotion according to things. Bill Murray did not like those kids at all.
God damn.
Are we accusing Bill Murray of assaulting his fellow actors?
Can we accuse Bill Murray of child abuse on set?
I don't.
I don't think we should.
I don't know. We should do that.
We do also get. We do also get a little bit where Bill Murray asks Max to come work for him.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we get the line drop of Max mentioning how he's not rich. His father's only a doctor, but we manage, which I'm only realizing now is just him lying.
Yeah, no, he just lied about that.
Wait, why are you only just now realizing that? He mentions that his dad is a neurosurgeon.
I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
It would help. I didn't realize until the very end of the movie that he was literally lying to people.
You would both fall for his fucking tricks.
No, I fucking wouldn't.
You would fall.
You would. You 100% would fall for his tricks.
I wasn't paying attention.
You would be deceived like a fucking chump.
We also end that scene with Max revealing that he's on the wrestling club as they tag him into an active match.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm in this club too, lol. And then he immediately gets fucking slammed.
Immediately starts eating shit.
But also there is also we went over it really quickly, but it is important to note. Mr. Bloom does confide into Max that he served in Vietnam, to which Max says, "Were you in the shit?" And that's not hyperbole. He says those words exactly, and he goes, "Yeah, I was in the shit."
What an odd thing to say.
What a very odd thing to say. It's Max has this need to come off as relatable. So I feel it is I think in his brain he's like, if I was a Vietnam soldier, I would use this terminology to describe the events I went through.
I was when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wants to be liked and respected by people. He wants them to think of him as important or impressive or whatever. He wants to not be seen as a 15-year-old boy. And you know what? Yeah, that's how I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes.
It's a coming of age story, you see. He
Uh-huh.
wants to be older than he wants to be like seen as more of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember what happens after the wrestling scene
Well,
ends.
we immediately cut to like
Wait.
I don't know if it's at the party, but it's like a gathering at like. Oh yeah, it is the party. It is the party.
Oh yeah, it's like Mr. Bloom's kid's birthday party.
The wrestling. There's a little behind the scenes thing here. Wes seems to have asked Jason to get his chest waxed. And the way Jason said it on the commentary made it seem like he was a little upset about having to do that. Maybe I wasn't sure. Maybe he was still a little resentful that he was asked to have his chest waxed, because this is the only scene where you see him take off his shirt. So he was upset that it was like all that work to go through the hell of getting waxed, and it barely comes up in the movie. So he was like, ooh, I can't believe it. And
I think that's reasonable grounds for complaint, actually. Going through all that. Like, I feel like we wouldn't even. I feel like we wouldn't. I didn't really register or notice that his chest was waxed. I feel like that's a lot to fucking go to for nothing.
For nothing.
I wanted to make sure that he was, as young looking as they could get. He mentioned that he had to shave 3 times a day to keep himself baby faced.
I mean, that makes sense.
How old was he when he made this movie?
I believe he was 18. Let me double check.
Yeah, film released in '98.
Yeah, he was born in 1980.
Yeah, so 18, I guess. Probably 17 during filming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right.
But it needs to look 15, and there's substantial enough difference when you're a teenager and growing up
Fair.
between a couple of years.
Fair. It was just something I wanted to think about and consider. But yeah, no, it is immediately after this they do show off the twins, Mr. Bloom's boys' like birthday party, which we mostly view from Mr. Bloom's perspective, and gives us a bit of an insight into his life, which lets us know that he is a very miserable man.
He's a very cool man, throwing golf balls into his pool and wearing like fucking Budweiser pool trunks while his wife hangs out with another man.
Mm-hmm.
And is like overtly flirting with him.
He like jumps off the fucking diving board. They have a goddamn diving board. And he just sits at the bottom of the pool while his kid swims around.
Mm-hmm. And he brings his like alcohol, his shot of alcohol up there with him to the diving board and then puts it down.
And then we clip right to Max talking with Rosemary again, like in her class.
Mm-hmm. Because he's just hanging around, being a little guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are they?
Just being a little guy.
What is our little guy doing? He's like feeding fish. He's helping her feed fish, right?
Yeah, Mrs. Cross, Rosemary, or Mrs. Cross, as we currently know her.
Miss Cross.
Miss Cross.
Miss Cross.
She's heard about how he's made an argument for Latin to come back. He asks if she needs an assistant, which she's like, you can't do that. That's not a thing. And then I guess he asks about the Miss Cross's husband, or she brings up that her husband went here but died last year. Max brings up that his mom died as well when he was 7, which is something he's not lying about.
And he fucking says, I guess we both have dead people in our families. Like, great job, bud.
Mm.
And then he asks about the fish. Some little tiny fish, and then that's that scene.
She mentions that she likes fish, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Also, quick note I have here on the scene where they're feeding fish is that Jason was a little too short, so they made him wear blocks on his shoes so that he could appear taller in that scene.
So I have a question. I have a question because I can't remember if I caught it correctly. Did he drop the fish food thing in there and then leave it?
For one of them, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I could have sworn that I remembered him doing that.
I missed that.
I know.
I thought I'd seen that. I'm glad I was not the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just another Max Fisher is kind of like a bumbling tool.
And then we're right into kind of a reveal that Bill Murray is like owner of this big factory that does something that we never know really.
Steel mill.
Steel mill, okay. And Max is trying to make a case for a loan of money of $35,000 from Bill Murray so that he can build the school and aquarium. And he's doing this without having asked Guggenheimer about it at all yet.
No one else got asked. Not even the. So he wanted to build it over like a baseball diamond that was owned by somebody else, and they straight up didn't tell him until they were just already there out
It
building.
was the school baseball diamond, and he was only building it over part of it. He was then going to presumably shift the entire baseball
diamond. Yeah.
Going to shift the entire thing a little to the side.
He's also like, he asks for $35,000, and Bill Murray's like, you know what? I believe in you, kid. Here's $2,500, and he cuts him a check like right then and there.
Insane.
Which
and then
I just I think about that scene and I go like, that is kind of like the relationship between Bill Murray and Wes, because Bill Murray like literally that's what happened. Bill Murray, Wes needed money for some scene that he wanted, like a really expensive scene, but the studio couldn't do it. So Bill said, "Here, just take my money. I'll pay for it. I believe in you, kid." He just and they didn't end up shooting the scene anyway. But Bill doesn't regret doing that because he really respects Wes Anderson's vision that much. That is entirely why he saw. I was told that. I heard that he was sent the script and he could tell Wes was a really good director just from the script, and he knew it might have been a risk to not check out Bottle Rocket before.
He didn't even see Bottle Rocket.
He didn't even see Bottle Rocket. His agent said, "Yeah, it's by the Bottle Rocket guys. I'll send you a copy." And then the agent says later, "Hey, Bill, did you get my copy? Did you watch Bottle Rocket yet?" And Bill's like, "No, I didn't." And the agent's like, and the agent's like, it might have got lost in the mail. I'll send you a copy. And then he talks to Wes Anderson. Wes said, "Yeah, we made Bottle Rocket. You ever seen that?" And Bill's like, "I don't think I have. I'll send you a copy." So Bill ended up with like so many copies of Bottle Rocket, and even 25 years later, I don't think he's seen the movie yet.
Oh my god!
Do you think that if he had, things would have been different?
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Yeah, like maybe he wouldn't have
Oh, I don't know. You wanted me to be that guy? Which character was I supposed to be in this film? He just takes the poor girl's fucking bracelet. He asks, and he says, "What to her? Can I keep it? Can I keep it?"
And then he
does it? I love in that scene, like forever, how she does not say yes, but he pockets it anyway.
We're never gonna get over that. This is just gonna be a thing that we remember forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so not normal.
It's quite a lot, you know.
So we do have after our good little growing up boy Max receives his $2,500. He immediately goes to learn ocean facts and buy fish for Miss Cross as a gift.
Other thing I need to point out, motherfucker at first says, "Yeah, we'll put these kinds of fish in there, and there'll be like this shit, and then also piranhas." And later on, after reading a book, being like, piranhas are really tricky.
doesn't know shit about piranhas.
Motherfucker didn't know shit when he was pitching the
idea. And then we clip immediately to what's definitely our first real look into like Max being incredibly weird. Because it's where Miss Cross is grading papers and she takes a drink of her lemonade and she sets it down and we immediately see someone pouring it and refilling it. And then we find out it is Max, who also immediately hands her a new pen when her pen runs out and sits across from her.
Again, like serial killer behavior.
Again, the entire premise for why he has decided to do this is because at some point he goes, "Why am I failing in school? Is it that I only do clubs? No, that can't be right. Is it because I don't get laid?
That may be it.
That may be it. I'm not getting any pussy.
Must be it."
Mm-hmm. To which his dad looks at him and goes, "I don't know. I think you just like school, kiddo." And he's like, I think you're just a guy who's married to the sea. And we didn't say what Max said in response to that, which is a line that is true. But maybe I've been out to sea too long. So now he has decided to harass women who are far older than him by making sure that they always have a cold glass of lemonade and a pen full of ink and being right next to her at all times.
And it is also during this scene, like right when he sits across from her, where she's like immediately onto him and is like, "Don't you think you're kind of young for me?"
Uh-huh. He says,
and of course, he does not take this well.
He says, "Well, I expected that would be something you would have a problem with."
He also swears that he's not trying to pressure her into anything and says, "We have no idea where this relationship is going."
Mm-hmm.
To which she says, "It's not going anywhere. We're just friends."
Mm-hmm.
As he loudly sharpens a pencil.
Oh my! He just
and instead of giving up, he doubles down and states, "I've never met a woman like you." And she's like, "Well, I've never met anyone like you either, Max." And then Max asks to shake her hand.
Well, yeah, because that's like the furthest he got with Dirk's mom, you see.
Fucking. I've never met a woman like you. Boy, I don't know if you've met a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I've
And
never met a man quite like you. You haven't, have you?
yeah.
No. No, she hasn't met a woman. She hasn't met a man like you, because what the fuck's your problem, guy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's when she says I've never met someone like you, he goes, you haven't, have you? Like he's like trying to be some smart fucking. He's trying to be the suavest fucking idiot in the world. He he's
Um,
he is king irritating.
it's also immediately after that where we cut to this play he's been working on, where all of a sudden the production quality is massive, and they have like a whole ass fake train, and they're doing a bunch of gunfire foley work and all sorts of bullshit.
Where's my Derek? There.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm sorry. What happened?
The
So
Serpico
that was the part after the whole big like fancy ass looking play where they like shoot guns out a window at a fucking entire fake like small train and everything.
And wasn't that also based on something real?
Yeah,
Serpico.
that was Serpico.
And
Yeah.
and I'm sorry. What's Serpico?
It's like a cop who was like potentially like, I don't want to say that he was a good cop, but he was a good cop especially in comparison to other cops, because the thing that he was doing was investigating like corruption, if I'm remembering correctly, corruption within the police, who were in league with organized crime and taking all of these bribes and everything like that. And it was like a whole big fucking thing. And I'm pretty sure uh he, upon like releasing all of this and whistleblowing, I'm pretty sure he got assassinated by other cops.
Of course.
I could be misremembering this story entirely. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. He writes another play based off of a real event. And he and one of the actors.
Yes. Yeah, no, I was correct.
One of the actors in the movie get a line wrong, and after the end of the scene, he like immediately jumps on them and badgers them for fucking up the line. To which
And they fucking punch him.
He didn't die. Serpico got shot in the face, and then after a long and painful recovery, he testified before the Knapp Commission, a government inquiry into the NYPD's corruption.
Huh.
Good for him.
thanks.
And then he resigned on June 15th, 1972, and moved to Switzerland. Congrats, man.
Thanks, Serpico.
He's still alive.
He's still alive.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
Thanks,
So
Serpico.
That scene with the fight, I got a note here that Owen Wilson joked that this is his relationship between him and Wes during Bottle Rocket.
I see.
Wes beat the shit out of him.
He joked this is what Wes was like if I got a line wrong during Bottle Rocket.
Beat the fuck out of him.
But it is like right after that where we do just cut to the audience, and like everybody loves it. They ate that shit up.
Mm-hmm. And everyone walks on screen to do bows, and they're trying to get Max to come up on screen, and he walks in slow motion, and we see that he has like blood pooling from his nose, and then he after he got punched really hard.
Because he's a needy ass director.
Mm-hmm.
Wes says that they did. I don't think they did multiples of the take, but they did multiple tries of which speed would be good for that take.
Multiple tries of punching Jason Schwartzman in the mouth.
How satisfying that must have been.
So the one thing that fucks me up about Wes Anderson movies is like reading back through all the like play-by-play and realizing, as we're all aware, like kind of how fast they move.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's that's the part where Miss Cross is like, hey, I brought this guy friend of mine. He's like a nurse,
Oh,
and
God.
I brought him to the play. And Max hates him and insults how his nose looks.
Mm-hmm. And we should also point out that
I
actor.
feel like in my head, I remember him insulting the way his nose looks, almost in the way a phrenologist would.
Mm-hmm. We also do need to point out that the nurse is played by Luke Wilson, who was Anthony in Bottle Rocket.
Who I still can't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And Max is also like points at his fucking outfit and he's like, those are your nurse's scrubs, and also you weren't invited to this play.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
He's like
no,
drunk.
these are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
Oh, are they?
Like, shut the fuck up.
It's said here that Luke Wilson wrote that joke in, and everybody loved it, and it's usually one of the best lines of the whole movie that people love.
Really?
Thanks, Luke.
Best line of the movie?
I'm really charmed that was a line that Luke Wilson, like, fucking taps Wes on the shoulder and goes, hey, and he takes out a pen, he just scribbles something into Wes's script, and he goes, do that, okay?
And he says, do that or I'll hit you.
Do that or I'll hit you. Mm-hmm.
Soup, you may agree with me. That's very boy of them.
Yes, it is very boy of them. It is also to point out that, the people at the he has an after show party. His dad walks up on stage before the party to, like, thank his son, and he's like, I have a party to go to. It's for the actors. It's not for the actors. And he goes, oh, okay. Do you need some money? You need some money? And he goes, no, Dad, I don't need your money. And then it cuts to them at the fancy restaurant, where he makes the "Oh, are they" joke. He's like,
and also like immediately on cutting, he's like, it's like immediately apparent he's drinking alcohol.
Yeah, the 15-year-old boy is drinking alcohol, because Bill Murray, Mr. Bloom, thought it would be okay.
These are both very not well people.
Mm-hmm.
And Max keeps ripping into this nurse guy. To which Miss Cross gets fed up and goes, hey man, you're like fucking rude. You're like rude as shit right now.
And he blows up
like,
at her.
He blows up.
He blows up, and then also while he's blowing up admits that he loves her.
Mm-hmm. This was my play, and this is my party, and you were not supposed to invite him. You hurt my feelings.
The only third wheel here was supposed to be Mr. Blue.
Mm-hmm. The only, and then after he screams that, he goes, and also I'm in love with you.
I think he gives some like excuse about, oh, sorry, I don't hold my alcohol well. Fucking.
You're 15, of course you don't, you dumb fuck.
List of 15-year-olds that are okay to hit a little.
And then that's right, folks. Immediately after this, we got to Bill Murray spying on this woman.
I got a note here about another note for the restaurant scene is that they showed this film to Francis Ford Coppola, and that was evidently Francis Ford Coppola is another famous director, Godfather and all that.
Oh.
Well, now hold on. Apparently, he also has his own winery, which I didn't know before this, because there's some wine you can see in the background, which is a rival winery to Francis Ford Coppola's wine. Now, you may think, wow, how did you get Francis Ford Coppola to watch this movie? Well, Francis Ford Coppola is Jason Schwartzman's uncle. Yeah. And
Ugh.
and if you know anything about the Francis Ford Coppola family, maybe you remember that Francis Ford Coppola is also an uncle to Mr. Nicolas Cage. That's right,
Holy
folks.
shit.
Jason Schwartzman and Nicolas Cage are cousins.
Are all famous people just related? Is that why they're able to get into the business?
Probably a large portion of them, yes.
We do need
Sometimes.
sometimes, yes. We do also, but I reiterate, Wes Anderson came from nothing.
And to nothing he shall return.
And to nothing he shall return after the end of the Journey of the West.
Wes
That's
Anderson
right,
came
long
from
time.
nothing. Wes Anderson came from nothing because he sprouted like mold in the Wilson family household.
That's right, longtime fan of the show, Wes Anderson. You're next.
You're
on the list.
You're on the list.
The list for what?
Hi, welcome to the first episode of our The Hit List podcast.
Where we talk about people we will kill and then kill them by the next podcast.
Also, if this is being shown as evidence in a courtroom, these are jokes.
These are jokes, and we're
This
only
is entirely coincidental to the horrible accident that has occurred, which I assume is an accident. I don't know.
If this is being shown in a courtroom, I did it, and I don't regret it.
editor.
Taka did it.
Editor, can you editor, shut up. I'm talking to the editor, jackass. Editor, can you show footage of us in Minecraft beating up like a giant model of Max that we made in Minecraft as to be like, see, we only meant to do it in Minecraft and not real life. Thank you,
We
editor.
like built it and then we put TNT on it.
Yeah, we built it and put TNT on it. Can you do that, editor? Thank you, baby.
I'm just as silly funny. I put a lightning rod on where his penises would be.
I don't like know where his penises would be to hurt him really badly. You know, in my it's all in Minecraft. We did this to Max Fisher and also a giant Wes Anderson.
I got somebody struck by lightning on the penis intentionally in real life on purpose.
Come on. I'm trying to fucking save your ass here. You're not like you're gonna. All right,
We're gonna find you guilty of penis crime.
here's our first Journey to the West question. What's everyone's last meal on death row gonna be?
What does this have to do with Wes Anderson?
Yeah,
Chicken Kiev.
Chicken Kiev.
I think mine will be 20 milkshakes.
A lot of milk.
Do you want them to like flip the chair on and you just shit immediately?
Yeah. I want them to drag me out. I want them to while they're dragging me to the chair. I'm like so fucking constipated with the shakes that there's like a little already dripping out of me.
You are foul! You are foul!
I go into the last meal, guys. I'm like, hey, can you give me like 4-gallon jugs of unpopped popcorn kernels, please?
Oh, I see. There's going to be a surprise.
I'm so sorry. I need a bathroom.
Oh, okay. folks, we're gonna transition into our advertisements now. While Derek goes piss.
Oh, I have a great segment while Derek goes piss. Folks, I have a question for all of you, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
If Max Fisher were a sim, how would you torture him in your game?
I'd put him in a room Put him in a room full of fishes and proceed to close all exits.
Like fishes with water, or like there are dead fishes on the ground?
I think both would be fitting for him.
Huh. Okay. Swigs?
I'd go for a bit of an old Sims classic, which is, I'd put Max Fisher into his sim neighbor Bill Murray's pool, and remove the ladder out of it, and then wall the whole thing in, and hanging on the walls of this now walled-in pool that he can't escape would just be like big paintings that say "You get no pussy."
You get
Austin, you have anything to submit?
Hmm.
You gonna bring
Yeah,
it?
I would wall him in a glass room where outside of it it's just Rosemary having a fulfilling relationship with someone who is not him. Or possibly find a way to glitch his mother's ghost into existence.
Oh my god.
Put his mother's ghost into the game to haunt him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do? What would you, Zach?
I think probably a similar thing to Austin, where I would just like put him in
Mother's
kind of like
ghost?
not Mother's Ghost, but specifically the thing about like Rosemary being like somewhere else, having a loving relationship that does not involve him in any shape or form, and him being like forced to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I've like put him in a heavily windowed, no exits home, that is immediately next to hers.
Awesome.
I know that technically it would be wrong to say, oh, this is like a 15-year-old, you can't be doing you can't want to hurt a 15-year-old this much, but like,
We'll get there.
Well, we haven't seen the true darkness of Max yet, but we promise.
If you're not already like a if you're not already a little swayed that he's like just generally annoying.
Mhm.
We're like, our podcast has eclipsed the length of the movie at this point, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it did for Bottle Rocket too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it did. It was like probably like 4 fucking hours.
Hmm. Yeah, it was 3 minutes. It was 3 hours and 6 minutes.
We're only like half done because we started late.
Uh-huh.
I think we are.
My gas tank is already like almost to E.
May I offer you a bunch of unpopped corn kernels to fill your energy back up?
Buddy?
Hmm?
May I offer you this one kernel of popcorn popped 100 years ago?
Century corn?
That's kind of interesting. Let me try that.
Anyway, we close out of our is at this point we close out of our advertisements. What I hope you guys bought whatever we were selling.
Century corn is a big hit. Buy now. Invest on the ground floor.
Please buy Century corn.
Please, my family needs it.
Please buy Century corn. The warehouse is still really full.
They have my family. They will kill them if I don't sell the Century corn.
Please buy Century corn at suppersoup.patreon.com at suppersoup.com.
We are not liable for anything that Century corn does to you or how much of your intestines will remain after ingesting Century corn.
What were we talking about?
Bill Murray is spying on the teacher.
Right. Yeah, Bill Murray's spying on the teacher, and like, what is he saying at this point?
He walks over to her, and I believe he has like a letter that Max wrote, like an apology letter, and how Max wants to talk to her and apologize to her, and that Max sent him as a friend, He apologizes because he's the one who let Max drink.
Mm-hmm.
To which Miss Cross, Rosemary, is like, I don't want to see Max anymore. I think I let him get too attached. That's kind of on me. And Murray's like, I don't know, you like did your best, I think. And then I believe while she's doing like something else, we just get this great shot of her like turning to do something else and Bill Murray just like running away from her at full speed.
There's a note here, because this is where he's coming up to her and there's like a kid doing finger painting or something like that. And that was actually very natural. The kid was just like painting, and every time they did different takes of that scene, Bill Murray would just point to something different on that picture, ask the kid what it is, and the kid would just answer honestly.
Awesome.
I can't remember if it was the same scene, but it does fuck me up that somewhere around that part of the movie, Bill Murray does just try to jump over a honestly kind of tiny fence.
I think that
proceeds to slap away a kid's basketball for no reason.
Okay, so that's a little later, but him falling off the fence was improvised.
Oh.
And him messing with the kids in basketball was also real. He loved doing that.
Bill Murray loves fucking children.
I need to ruin this child's game of basketball.
Bill Murray just enjoys being shitty to kids, it seems.
he'll never outdo, I think it's fuck, what's his face? Now I'm gonna forget who he is. Adam Sandler in the Dodgeball movie, I think it is, where he's like really in one of the movies. He's really into hitting kids with dodgeballs.
God,
like, for real.
God Christ!
You're probably thinking of Ben Still. Adam Sandler's not in that movie.
Well, no, he was in a different movie. I think it was like the
the movie where he famously assaults children with basketballs or dodgeballs rather.
It's like that one where he's like a grown ass man going to kids' school, I assume.
Oh, Billy Madison. Okay.
Yeah. So right after the spying scene, we get the bit where Max is like starting to do all this work to like get the aquarium built on the baseball field, and like this is where he gets caught as they're like cutting down trees and shit, and Mr. Guggenheim's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Guggenheim.
Dr. Guggenheim.
So this is also where we can point out more family casting. The coach there is Andrew Wilson.
Oh yeah, right.
Future Man.
Future Man, and that's funny that you say that because in the making of Rushmore that was made by Wes Anderson's brother, he looking at he's like, he points at Andrew Wilson and goes, "Look, there's Andrew Future Man Wilson." And on the topic of Wes Anderson's brother is in this scene as the architect who's helping build the aquarium.
Awesome.
It is for this little stunt that tragically Max is finally expelled, and our next scene opens on him introducing himself to his public school classmates
in a new season, a new month.
His ass is
new month. Yeah, it's like October now, I believe.
Mm-hmm. It's 90 minutes to move 1 month.
Better than the Earth does it. Shut up.
I got a note here. Owen mentioned that he was expelled from school too.
Oh.
And this was a little harder on him because his dad was on the board, was a board member for that school. So he felt like he was really letting his dad down there. And there's a line earlier in the movie where Mr. Bloom says, "I never thought I'd have kids like these," which is something Owen's dad really said about his own kids.
God damn.
With a little more love in his heart, but it's a line from Owen's dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he does his little speech introducing himself to public school. Being public school children, nobody really seems to care about this at the moment. And then Max is like, "Well, it's time for me to go do my fencing practice." Which he's doing just on the school basketball court until the basketball players start playing around him.
Mm-hmm. Like he when he introduces himself, he's like, "I noticed that you guys don't have fencing. I'll do my best to set up a fencing club for you guys. Don't worry."
Right. And I think this was where Bill Murray jumps over the fence because Max is like calling him from a payphone at school.
Yeah. Do you have a permit for that phone?
Yeah, there's like a security guard at the school who's like, you don't have a phone pass. You like need to get off the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that very short bit, Max is like, well, it's time for me to return to the good old campus of Rushmore.
And also while they are on the phone, Bill Murray is trying to convince him to be like, what do you even see in that? What do you even see in her? Maybe she is too old for you. Maybe you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, he's really trying to sell like, maybe you guys just like, maybe she's not right for you, I think was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And thus begins the Tom and Jerry ass shit that begins.
Well, not quite.
I guess not quite. There's a little bit of buffer beforehand.
Because we get Max coming back and then telling that one kid who seems like the school bully that he was expelled because he got a hand job from Dirk's wife. I mean, Dirk's mom.
His wife, little baby Dirk's wife.
Oh, everybody's yelling at Max for women, but then Dirk's wife.
Yeah, Max claims he got a hand job from Dirk's mom. Or maybe not even a hand job. This is she like touched his balls or something. I don't.
No, he said he said it
was a hand job. Yeah.
Okay. And this is him going to Rushmore. He's apologizing to Rose for what he did at dinner. He still hates the other guy that she was with. And then he finally asks like about the book where she reveals the book was originally a gift from her now deceased husband, and that Max reminds her of her dead husband because her dead husband founded the beekeeping club initially.
I remember being so mad about that too. Like, don't say it to him. You're gonna encourage him. No, he's insane.
As if he wasn't encouraged enough, Max is then like, well, I suck at school. I'm gonna need like a tutor for my classes at public school.
Mm-hmm.
And so he convinces her to tutor him, and we kind of get a montage of him and her and like Bill Murray kind of just like chilling and like doing shit.
Dirk's there sometimes. I don't know if this was attached to a specific scene, but I got a note here that this is the point in the commentary, and I don't think you guys are going to like this, but this is where Wes says that he feels like there is a connection between Max and Dignan.
No.
Max and Dignan.
You see, Max has like a manipulator's heart, and Dignan is just very boy and misguided.
And then a girl from public school, comes up to him and is like, "Hey, I really liked that like speech, your like introduction speech that you made. That was like pretty cool of you." And he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks," but like, he's not interested because he's still thinking about his teacher.
Very-
to which we then clip to
very
him,
very
like,
clearly
leading-
very clearly though she's like trying to like be friendly,
Yeah,
flirty.
yeah, she's very clearly into him. Her character is Margaret Yang. And before, right before we get to more with her, we first get a brief scene of like how once again Max has put in the work and is now like leading the cheerleaders and doing backflips and shit for the basketball team. Before he's then kind of like walking out with his school agents essentially like telling him his schedule, and he like walks over to Margaret and he's like, "Hey, I think you should start acting in my plays." And she's like, "I got a class." And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll sort that out for you."
Fucking, she doesn't even ask. He just assumes that she's trying out for his play, or that she has anything to want to do with it.
I mean, Andy's right.
It's a chance for her to be closer to Max, so she took that opportunity.
She definitely took the opportunity, but she also didn't exactly ask.
Then we finally get to the big moment of Rushmore, where Bill Murray is speaking to Rose at her house, and we gotta get another like glean into the weird like we're three people doing shit that they had with Max, because Bill Murray's like, "Hey, did Max have like anything for us to be doing today?" And she's like, "No, I don't think so." and then they kind of start hanging out a little, and they're like talking, and they go for a walk. But Dirk, Max's little buddy Dirk, witnesses Bill Murray and Rose walking and hanging out immediately as if.
Hold on a second. Is this when your girl dinner counter went up?
Yes, because Rose opens her door and she's just eating like a little plate of carrots and nothing more.
God damn.
Okay.
Carrot.
Okay.
And this is also where a special counter of mine goes up, which is that Bill Murray eats some of these carrots, which means he has eaten carrots in at least 2 movies.
Okay.
He's a horse.
Okay. So I do have a note about that scene. Is that Jason thought that Bill ate that carrot like an animal.
Yes.
I don't.
Because he's a horse.
I'll have to check again because I could have sworn he actually said manimal. But Jason even said he walked up to Bill and said, "Man, you ate that carrot like a professional." And Bill's like, "Yeah, man, I know." It was like a whole moment for Jason to see Bill.
This is clearly why they picked him to eat a carrot in Osmosis Jones later.
Did that happen?
Yes. At the end of the movie, he's attempting to be healthy, and he like does like a small hike with his daughter, and then he's like, fuck, do we got any snacks?" And she's like, "We got like carrots."
He is a horse. Bill Murray's a horse. 2025.
This is Osmosis Jones is also a movie where Bill Murray eats like a boiled egg off of the ground next to a monkey enclosure.
Isn't that how he gets
this
his
This is why he gets super disease, by the way.
I guess I'll just take a moment to I watched Jason's interview with Conan when Rushmore came out, and Jason's talking about his first experiences with Bill Murray, and there's a scene later on where it was like the first scene they shot together, but they were both feeling really bad about it, so he felt like he wasn't going to get along with him. Then Bill Murray takes him out to dinner somewhere, and then Bill kind of makes him pay for the check, to which Jason does so wholeheartedly, and then he tells Conan, "I paid for a Ghostbusters dinner," and Conan's like, "You cannot keep calling him the Ghostbuster. Stop it."
Ghostbusters dinner.
Excuse me. You can thank me later, but a hungry man. When can we get a Ghostbusters dinners, please?
Hungry Man Buster's dinner?
Hungry Man Buster's dinner. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So this is Dirk. Dirk witnesses them hanging out. He knows what's up. He.
I'm so spiteful at this point.
Well, Dirk then states that he doesn't want to tell Max because he doesn't want Max to know. Because he's like, oh, this would like really hurt my buddy, my pal Max. I don't want him to find out about this. And Dirk, this very small child, looks at Bill Murray and he's like, you should stop this. And then he spits on Bill Murray's car.
With friends like you, he needs friends.
God.
And then Bill Murray's kids, who are apparently still in his car at the time, lock him out of his own car. And then the handjob comment comes back to bite Max because this fact is told to Dirk. And Dirk's like,
By the Scottish bully. Who
has a name that I don't remember.
Or is he
Buckin?
Buckin?
Buckin,
Is he Skyrish or Irish? This is like important actually.
Scottish.
Okay.
He's Scottish.
Okay.
So Buckin tells Dirk about the handjob comment.
Also,
Dirk is like, no.
Also, we definitely did like.
No, come on.
We definitely did like kind of wave over his existence in general. Early in the movie, we are introduced to our Scottish enemy Buckin, who's going around spitting balls at children and hurting.
My enemy.
Yeah, not Austin's enemy. He is kind of the hero of the film, honestly.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
He's like one of the most normal people in the movie, and I think other than his harassing of smaller children, most of his actions are justified.
He's just kind of a regular kid shithead, whereas the other kids seem to be like serial killers in the making.
He's like kind of real though. He's like kind of real and goes hard though. Is also another thing that he brings to the table.
I remember there's a moment when right after they get the announcement that Latin is now mandatory, that he insults Max and says something pretty Scottish, I'm pretty sure. And Max is like, "Oh, is that Latin?" He said so smugly.
Mm-hmm.
So after Dirk hearing about this lie that Max has told, he's kind of busted up now that his buddy would get a hand job from his mom. So Dirk writes up a letter to Max about everything that happened with Bill Murray. To which the next scene is Bill Murray getting into his car, and Max is in the back seat of Bill Murray's car smoking a cigarette. Again, like a killer.
Also him picking up habits of Rosemary, who she said she started smoking at his age, and he's like, I must not be mature enough. I gotta be more mature.
I gotta start smoking. So at this point, Bill Murray does admit to loving Rose, to which Max is angry because he was loving her first. And he's also mad at Bill Murray for trying to throw him off of liking Rose. And then Max says that she's never gonna love you. I saved Latin. What did you ever do?
That's his go-to thing. I did this thing. What have you ever done?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a critically acclaimed play. I saved Latin. You are an insufferable little shit.
Do you think he has like a habit of writing plays based off of real events? Do you think Max really likes Hamilton?
I think Max wrote Hamilton.
You think Max would have wrote Hamilton? Yeah.
Yeah.
He already did.
Goddamn.
It's time for Rushmore the musical. Lin-Manuel, another of our listeners.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. We
Lin-Manuel Miranda stole fucking Hamilton from Max.
True.
I know what you did.
We know what you did,
I
Lin.
will go public.
We know what you did, Lin, and we're gonna kill you in our Killer Assassin podcast.
You're next on the list right after Wes.
We're gonna turn you from Lin-Manuel Miranda to Lin Automatic Miranda.
To Lin Unwell Miranda.
Lin Man Bad.
Bad Miranda.
Lin Man Not So Good.
Not so good, Miranda.
And me, I'm also feeling Lin-Man not so well. So this is the part of the movie where shit starts to snowball for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because Max quickly stops by Rushmore again to tell Rose that she ruined his life. He then proceeds to like burn just a pile of like brush just out in the campus of Rushmore, where while he's smoking yet another cigarette, he flips off Guggenheim.
Why do they let him on campus? He's like shouldn't be here. Thing we need to state that's also really important. After he gets expelled, he doesn't stop wearing the uniform.
He keeps the uniform on, he keeps going back there, and they keep letting him go back there. So
Like he is seen wearing it pretty much all throughout the movie, even when it's like not at school.
He's the only one who wears the blazer.
He's the only one that wears the full suit as well. Like everyone else is like kind of doing something different and like being kids about it, but he's like very formal, very military with his uniform.
I mean, the other thing is like, how are they gonna stop him from getting on campus? Like,
I guess you're right. The only people that were guarding the school were him.
yeah. Him and, like the army of fucking him and Dirk's irregulars.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
So we get the beginning of, you know, Max's real descent into his evil, his darkness phase.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I start adding to the killing intent counter.
he after already doing these things, he then leaves a message with Bill Murray's wife wanting to speak with her. He meets her on top of a building.
In a parking lot, he gives her a tuna sandwich.
Gives her a tuna sandwich that he made beforehand. He's like, "Do you want a sandwich? I have these sandwiches." And so he then tells Bill Murray's wife about how, you know, what's going on with Rose, which we don't actually hear because all that gets drowned out by city noise. We then immediately cut to Bill Murray at a hotel because he's divorced.
He gets divorced. He gets divorced because his wife, who already has been cheating on him, finds out that he is cheating on her and then just divorces him and kicks him out of the house.
By a child. He's not even cheating on her, really, necessarily. Like, a child who heard from another child tells his wife, who is cheating on him, that he is cheating on her, and this is enough for her to actually divorce him.
Well, maybe she knows. Maybe she doesn't know Max is just a child. Maybe she knows Max as that kid that my husband spends more time with than his actual children.
You know, that's all right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, kind of a damning piece of evidence. But still an insane thing to believe from Max, regardless. But you know, But they after that he's like sent to like the hotel, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be staying here for a while. Yeah, I'm getting sued for divorce," which isn't like a thing that happens.
Yeah, he tells the guy at the front desk. We see him settling into his room, and he's starting to read like the newspaper. But what's that? There appears to be a bee in his room. There appears to be a lot of bees in his room. Goodness, Bill Murray has realized there's a pipe sticking through the door. That somebody's piping bees into his room.
Who could it be?
Who could it be? Of course.
Who could
It was Max.
be?
Poor
Max beat him.
dark, sweet baby Max Fisher.
Falling to the darkness. His heart is swallowed by shadow. Max has beat Bill Murray.
And like,
Question for the room.
yeah,
Does this count as killing intent?
definitely.
Please?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If he had been allergic, like, I'm sure Max doesn't know if he was allergic, but I'm sure that was part of the intent.
Mm. It's
Not
So, I have a note here that those were real live bees. So the crew was wearing like protective beekeeper things.
While Bill Murray was exposed directly to the bees.
And they say that Bill Murray did not care. He was not afraid of being stung.
Did he get stung?
He did not get stung. Somebody else got stung. They were all right. That was the only person who got stung that day.
Somebody else got stung. They recovered.
Yeah, they were.
They
They
died.
were trying to use non-stinging bees for the scene, but the non-stinging bees were just being dull and lifeless. So they said, "Okay, bring in the bees that hurts."
the bees that hurt will have more reason to kill us.
Yeah, this is where we get into the fact that that Jason Schwartzman is the cousin of Nicolas Cage, because this is basically just that Wicker Man scene. It's a hereditary. It's like a family curse, really.
They have to be in a scene involving bees.
And the bees will sting you to death, and you'll die, and they'll eventually wear your body as a suit and take over your acting career, which is why Jason Schwartzman and Nick Cage are both currently just effectively like hive mind colonies of bees wearing skin suits.
Mm-hmm. It's
You'll notice because of like the severe uptick in their acting quality when this after these scenes
Oh
occurred.
my god.
It's important. It's also important to note, in case any of you blocked it out, or just it's been a long time. But I want you to really think back on that scene in The Godfather where the director of Godfather was there and he got attacked by so many bees, and they played like that really somber trumpet solo over it as we slowly zoomed out. And then we just never spoke on that part again, and a lot of people thought it was a weird scene to be in The Godfather.
Mm-hmm. Also, I do want to point out two things. One, as Max escapes through the elevator, as he's dressed as one of the workers of the establishment, one of the only times we see him not wearing the Rushmore uniform, but I bet it's underneath the employee uniform. He chews some gum and then spits it out and puts it in between some towels, hotel towels that he's supposed to be moving around like a complete fucking animal.
No. The gum he stuck to the fucking wall.
Okay, well
That was also a drop.
still an animal move of him.
Oh yeah.
And two, we kind of like skipped over it. We refer to Max like a darkness is encroaching in him and that he's coming to the darkness, and that may sound like hyperbole, but I promise you, if you do watch this film, it is really dark sometimes. Like the way it does feel like there's a darkness in him that slowly gets stronger throughout the film, and like the way that he acts, and like it feels real. It feels really bad.
We have the way he is now acting. We have the fact that like as we see him ride the elevator down. It's like a very dark elevator.
Mm-hmm.
So you may think, well, after this child tried to murder him with bees, what
do
does
you
Bill
do about
Murray?
this?
What does Bill Murray do? And honestly, like a kind of reasonable man, he takes the bees thing sort of in stride, but he's like, all
We
right,
can't let this keep happening.
this can't keep happening. And so he goes to the public school. He takes Max's bike, unlocks it, runs it over with his car, and then puts it back at the bike thing, locks it back up. And was it? I forget. I think it was while he was doing that, Max's dad drives by and like
No.
sees him doing it.
No, it's Mr. Little Jeans that drives by, the groundskeeper. Who
Mr. Little Jeans.
we've seen a
Kumar.
few times. Yeah, we sort of failed to mention that this is a fan favorite from the last movie, Kumar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Little
Okay.
Jeans catches him in the act.
So, now Max has been struck. Now it's time for Max's retaliation to this man destroying his bike. So Max rides his new bike to Bill Murray's factory.
That he just got. I don't know who he gets a
And-
second one so quickly.
and he gets in there, and he slides himself right under Bill Murray's car.
And
he cuts the brake line on Bill Murray's fucking car.
he also just
because the next
This is killing intent number 2.
he also just goes really quickly past, like, he just like casually goes past the security guards, because they're like, oh yeah, that's Max, the guy that our boss hangs out with more than his kids.
we
Reasonable
all know.
guy to like, yeah. He's got all access pass. I'm pretty sure.
Uh-huh.
I've been talking to my boss about absolutely every element of his life because he's kind of a depressing guy
Mhm.
and also
So-
really weird because he keeps hanging out with this fucking kid. So
Immediately after we have Max cutting the brake line, we clip to Bill Murray driving his car, arriving at Rushmore, and not being able to hit the brakes, so he just kind of swerves around in a circle for a bit as his car slows down. He eventually just slowly rolls towards the groundskeeper and kind of like almost pins him against a wall, but not quite.
I think he
Bill
ends up
Murray then does.
I think he ends up bumping
this-
into a car. Or not
Yeah,
bumping,
he,
into,
like-
bumping into a tree.
He bumps into a tree,
yeah, just barely.
And then Bill Murray does the thing he should have done after the bees, which is that he gets Max fucking arrested.
All right.
Max is arrested and dragged out of school.
So that scene where he's reporting Max to the police, you can see Mr. Little Jeans next to him, and you can also see another little boy in that scene, and it's a different little boy. It's not Dirk. It's a different little boy, and he's a different little boy who's just like all throughout the movie. I think he's the boy that jumps into the pool when Bill Murray does it earlier.
Oh, is he also the one who's hanging with Buckin during the beatdown?
I think so. He's just a kid with no lines. The commentary refers to him as Ryan. I don't know if that's the character name or the actor name, but Jason says that they also called him Dark Boy.
Future man, dark boy.
Future
Boy.
Dark boy.
See, now that we have two, I'm really hoping that we have at least one character named like this in every Wes Anderson film. I'm really hoping.
Wes did say that he and Owen really like names like that with like Little Jeans and Applejack, and he was really drawn to that.
Naming everybody like My Little Pony.
My Little Pony OC Dark Boy.
Yeah.
You'll see Dark Boy later on at the near the end where Max's dad says, "Oh yeah, my son wrote this play." I thought, boy, that's a weird thing to say to Dirk. Shouldn't Dirk know that? That wasn't Dirk. That was Dark Boy.
They fuse together.
Dirk
Dirk
boy.
Dirk's in the damn play. Why would he be in the audience?
So Max's dad immediately bails him out, and he's kind of trying to convince Max to like maybe chill out a bit. But Max is like, nah, hold on, I gotta go get a teacher fired.
Oh yeah, when Max is coming out of the prison too, they hand him his shoelaces, and I don't know if that's like standard procedure if you get arrested, but
So generally, if you are taken into custody, they will take your belt and shoelaces, so you can't hang yourself.
can you do that with shoelaces?
Yes,
You can try.
Ah, wow.
you can use it to. You can definitely use it to strangle yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, they tell
They
you
also do
that
this
in
with, like-
they tell you that in Alice's Restaurant Massacre. If you ever bothered to listen to the Thanksgiving classic 14-minute song.
Hey everybody! Quick aside, it's time for Soup's music recommendation.
Oh yeah, if you guys have 14 minutes, I would just go listen to Alice's Restaurant Massacre by Arlo Guthrie, the son of Woody Guthrie, one of the founding fathers of folk punk and punk and what have you.
It is spelled massacre. Don't think Soup's getting massacre wrong.
Yeah, it's spelled like massacre. It's 14 minutes long, and they made a movie about it later, which I still haven't walked through because it was kind of boring, and the song's probably better. And it is just like an hour-long version of a 14-minute-long song. But besides the point, yeah, go check it out.
This is a like however many hours long podcast about a 93-minute long movie.
Yeah, but we're like not boring.
Wow.
We're not boring. We're like funny, unlike the movie to Alice's Restaurant Massacre.
Yay!
I think that's pretty judgmental about the movie.
It is. I don't care. Moving on. Back to our cool podcast that's better than Alice's Restaurant Massacre the movie, but not cooler than Alice's Restaurant Massacre the song.
So now we have, Dark Max is returning to the campus of Rushmore again. But as he arrives, children step out from behind trees. Some of them dressed in costumes. At least one of them is dressed as a little wizard. And they just start throwing shit at him and trying to get him to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Deserved, honestly.
And apparently, Dirk is one of the ones who put them up to this because, they kind of stopped throwing shit at Max, and Dirk is like, hey, was that hand job remark like real? Did you say that? And he's like, yeah, I said that.
No, I think he lies.
No, he said,
no.
Why would you believe Buckin?
Right.
He's like a pathological liar. Why would he ever tell them the truth?
Yeah, no, Buckin just said that to split us up, to hurt us. Yeah, and next time I see him, I'll kick his ass, and stuff like that.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but when Dirk was tattling on Bill Murray, he did write a whole letter full of lies himself on what they were doing.
Oh yeah, no. In his letter, he lies and says that they're giving each other hand jobs and stuff like that.
Skinny dipping.
They kind of make a point in the film to let everyone know that all of the fucking kids are obsessed with hand jobs specifically.
I forget if it was Owen or Wes, but one of them mentioned that they felt like hand jobs was said a lot in this movie more than a lot of other movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sort of juvenile milestone, I guess, for fucking sexual development.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also give it because it's all the private school kids that are talking like this. So it's like, oh yeah, if you were in public school, I don't know, somebody probably would have told you more shit. But private school is just like, whoa, hand job.
Uh-huh. Again, I know that they tried to teach me what sex was in elementary school.
The teachers or the kids?
The teachers. They like what was it? They like walked in like in the last on like one of the last few days of elementary school. They were like, "All right, you kids are going to middle school and you're growing up, so we're gonna teach you about it." And they put in a VHS tape that was like sex ed, and they made all the girls go into one room and all the boys go in the other room, and it was different sex ed tapes for the different genres.
Fairly standard, although a bit strange to do it at elementary school level, I
Mhm.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of worked it out on my own, really.
I like wasn't paying attention and learned it from Family Guy.
I was told that stuff at a very young age because my mom knew I would be dealing with it early.
Mm-hmm.
I think this I don't know what scene triggered this, but I got a note here. I think I don't know if Owen strictly agreed that he felt like Max and Dignan had a connection, but he felt like Rushmore and Bottle Rocket had a lot of innocence in those films.
A lot of innocent. I feel
Innocence. Rushmore, a film of innocence.
I feel the innocent vibes from Bottle Rocket a lot more than Rushmore.
Yeah, I don't quite get innocent from Rushmore.
I guess it's like I would get more so child ignorance more so than innocence.
I think that's a better way to put it. Maybe it's more ignorant than innocent.
Rushmore, one of the most ignorant movies you've ever seen.
Yeah, there's a lot of naivety on Max thinking that this is what he has to do to get ahead in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's true, but also so saying that Buckin lied, the kids kind of let Max pass. And then Max has gone to Dr. Guggenheim to reveal photos of the two of Rose and Bill Murray together. I know. I guess this was no.
Like after
Guggenheim's like, hey, she like already left, so this doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Why are you so obsessed with trying to get rid of her? Also, there's like a very good Guggenheim line, where Max says something, and Guggenheim responds by repeating the same thing he says, like a little child. I forget what the exact quote is.
We've also had throughout the movie, as we've seen, like, Guggenheim's office. He, over the months, he's been taking, like, more medications and stuff, and I believe it is this scene where we get, like, I forget the exact note it ends on, but, like, we see their shadows on the wall, and Max is, like, very threatening, and we all just kind of assumed Max killed him before we had later confirmation.
There was, what happens is he, like, tries to grab a letter from Guggenheim and while they're fighting, and he's like, why are you so upset? Why'd you let her go? Why are you so obsessed with getting rid of her? And like, he's like screams some shit. You fool! I'm trying to win her back! And then like you hear like a thunder strike as we're like looking at them from the shadows.
Yeah, we see their shadows tussling with each other, and we're like, oh, so he killed him then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the notes I have here is that when it cuts to the shadow, those aren't actually Jason Schwartzman and Brian Cox. Those are stand-ins.
Why?
I don't know why. I guess they couldn't. I don't know, but that's what happened.
Maybe there's cut content. Maybe there's cut footage of him for real killing Guggenheim, and they were like, we can't do this. We need to reshoot it. Fucking
Jay. Interesting thing about that. I don't know if it's specifically death was involved, but an earlier version of the script was supposed to have Max and Guggenheim having a more tense relationship. Probably worse than the Bill Murray montage that they were having earlier.
Hmm. I assume they
Uh,
didn't feel like they had time to add all the Guggenheim hatred.
yeah, that would do it. And let's see. Uh, this is less related to the movie, but I think it's interesting that uh, the what they're fighting on is the shadows is over a Winston Churchill portrait. Brian Cox, who plays Guggenheim, would go on to play Winston Churchill in a different film later on.
Someone saw that and knew what they had to do to him. He after that scene, he like comes back, or he's leaves the building. We're not sure if Guggenheim is still alive at this point. And
He then somehow finds Rose again. It's not really clear how.
mhm.
And she gives him an apology for like hurting his feelings,
Undeserved.
and they kind of talk for a bit, and then Max kind of tries really, really hard to kiss her, and she like shoves him away.
He commits an act of sexual assault.
We all were chanting about how she should hit him.
Mhm.
And then
You were.
she grills Max on like what did you think we were like actually going to do? Like, you're like a child. Did you think we were just gonna have some kind of sex and then you like brag to your friends about it or whatever? Like, what?
Was I gonna give you a hand job?
Like, clearly mocking him for being an idiot child who doesn't, he doesn't know anything about sex. He doesn't know what the fuck he wants at all.
Mhm.
Mm.
And she pushes when she pushes him away, he like falls into some boxes, and like he seems like so hurt, and like so hurt, and
Hold on, are we talking about two different scenes?
No, she pushes him into boxes when he tries to assault her.
Because Taka said kissing her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He kissed her hand in that scene.
Mm.
I don't know about the hand kiss scene. We're talking about the scene where he's like getting her.
Like on her, trying to kiss her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where she's
Struggling.
cleaning out her room, right?
Yeah. And like I'm pretty sure, and he pushes her she pushes him into some boxes for moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he looks so fucked up and hurt and like wet and like creature and like it doesn't make me feel pity for him. It makes me feel it like leans into like the darkness that is in him.
Mm-hmm.
So after he gets grilled, he's leaving, and Buckin appears to start dunking on his ass, which he's kind of earned at this point.
Mm-hmm. Again, Buckin's so real.
This spurns Dark Max to turn and charge at Buckin, to which Buckin just punches him square in the face.
He also calls Buckin an Irish slur,
Which I have forgotten.
mm-hmm. which is like he's Scottish, and so he's another Max's ignorant scene.
Nod. He just does not pay a lick of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And while Max is lying in the dirt, Max is like, Dirk, help me up. Dirk, help me up. And Dirk does not help him up. Max is finally abandoned by one of his only friends. Max has nothing.
Nothing but his precious plays.
We then cut to Max hanging out at his mom's grave to meet Bill Murray there. And Bill Murray was like, "You asked to meet me here." And Max tells Bill Murray, he's like, "I was gonna try and get that tree over there to like fall on you, but I
Killing intent number 4.
No, yeah, he's like, yeah, so you brought
Well,
me here.
What's the point, you know?
He says,
Yeah, what's
you called me here, said something about wanting to end this all. Yeah, I was gonna push this tree over and it was gonna fall on you, kill you, but then I thought, what's the point?
And Bill Murray's like, yeah, no, that would have done it. Squash me flat. I would have died.
His point for that is also him being like, you know, what's the point? Murray, she loves you. To which Murray does say, one of our beautiful, stupid lines, where he says, "She's my Rushmore, Max."
Rushmore, Max.
and
Mine too.
and to which Max says, "So is mine too," which is like really insightful because Bill Murray tries to use a line that he thought was like insightful that Max said to him to try to like connect to Max and like make him understand what he's feeling. To which Max does not understand it and just like deflects it with being ignorant and missing the point of his own saying that he gave. There's also a point when he says, you know, she loves you, not me, and he also says, Max, she hasn't been talking. She like dumped me. she.
So
What you're saying is there's a chance.
we also do get, as Max leaves after this, we do see Bill Murray kind of poke at the tree near him, and it does in fact fall the fuck over.
It literally would have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of start on a like, Max is broken, but like healing and being normal.
Well, no, don't we get the rain scene first? The scene where he breaks in.
Oh right. I forgot.
Yeah,
he's
he
super
finds,
not normal. Yeah.
He finds out
before that scene, we also have him going in to see Guggenheim after he had his stroke, and of course, going and seeing him and then talking to him. Guggenheim does briefly wake up from his stroke-induced coma because Max annoys him so much.
Mm-hmm. to which his wife and or caretaker says, those are the first words he said.
His wife.
Yeah, his wife. Those are the first words he said for weeks.
So we actually
Living in number one.
we actually weren't quite there yet. So spoilers to you for revealing Guggenheim lived.
Yeah, we find out Guggenheim is alive. He just had a stroke for different reasons, but probably not different reasons. They probably were caused by the stress that Max was giving him.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in the film, Max is working at his dad's barbershop, kind of learning how to be a barber. And we have a brief moment of Dirk sort of watching him and keeping an eye on him.
Well, no, because don't they? We have that scene where he is the Rosemary.
That's
scene?
That's a bit later.
Okay.
Because we have this bit. This is the bit where Max still isn't normal yet because Margaret shows up and bought like a plant for him. And Max's dad tells her that Max isn't home right now. And then she walks around the side of the house, and Max is clearly visible through the window.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, a thing that we should point out is that he does run a play in his new school, with Margaret as one of the characters, and I think we might have talked about that. But we did not talk about the fact that he makes a Hispanic kid say the N-word in his movie, in his play.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when that happens because I noted down that the N-word was said, but not in the movie notes.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow managed to completely blip it out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the reveal that kind of everything's a bummer for everybody right now. Rose is
also
eating
November.
dinner alone in her big room. Bill Murray's eating alone in his stupid hotel room. We do see Max take the plant that Margaret, I guess, left there. And he does take it to his mom's grave, which is like kind of sweet in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And we have his dad kind of being like, "Hey, I've enjoyed your company at the barber shop, but like, what happened to all that like big stuff you were like dreaming of and wanting to do? What happened to all that?"
We switch into December at this point as well. And I do think he also just mentions that he just full on dropped out of school.
Mm-hmm. Something about being, through and through, he's just a barber's son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is where it is. This is where it's December, and Dirk finally comes into the barbershop, and he's apologizing for throwing shit at Max, and he gives Max a little Christmas gift, which is a Swiss Army knife. That I believe is like a Rushmore Swiss Army knife, right?
Mm-hmm. It's engraved with his name, I think. Like it has Max.
And
It has Max's engravings on it. Definitely a thing that Max shouldn't have as a kid who's tried to kill the same man 3 times.
Oh yeah, 100%.
so, we kind of get this nice little scene between them. Max gives Dirk a haircut. They kind of talk for a bit, and this is where it is revealed that Dr. Guggenheim had a stroke. But Max says he doesn't care to visit, but then the next scene is him visiting. And then this is where we meet, Mrs. Guggenheim. And Guggenheim waking up just because he hates Max so bad.
Guy that annoys me
Like-
so much that he
And like
my
it's
stroke.
important. It's like interesting, to see Guggenheim through in this lens and not in the lens of originally intended of like bitterly hating Max, right? Because at the start of the movie he does believe in that kid, but then he keeps doing awful things to the point where it causes him to have a stroke by the mid to end point of the movie, and it's like you feel bad for that fucking geezer.
Yeah.
Which you can tell that this is, a children's coming of age story, because this is what would happen in any of those like comedy bits where you put your rival who hates kids in the hospital.
Yeah, just like fucking I was gonna call it the Lunchbox Kids, so that's not what it's called. Breakfast Club. Yeah.
This is
Lunchbox kids.
It's also revealed that Bill Murray has also come to visit Dr. Guggenheim, because I believe Max runs into him. And this is where Bill Murray was like drinking a can of shit and then just like puts it under some towels on like a house, like a janitor's fucking like cart or something.
Smoking actually, and he has a cigarette in his mouth, which he likes to smoke, and then he takes another cigarette while he's still smoking the first cigarette, puts that second cigarette in his mouth, lights that one up as well.
He just starts smoking cigarettes.
He also has a
Horrified by that.
he also has a black eye, which one of his own children gave him.
Mhm.
And given his horrible look and the fact he's smoking 2 cigarettes, he does state he's not doing okay.
And this is where I
Finally recognized him.
definitely recognized Bill Murray.
Awesome.
And it is at this point that Bill Murray is also asked by Max, like, "Hey, how is Rose doing?" And Bill Murray's like, "Dude, I'm not doing okay. I haven't seen her in like 6 weeks."
She's in love with a dead guy anyway.
To which Max, ridden with darkness, flaring up in him once again, he realizes there's a chance.
Mhm.
Hold on. So like this is also the part where where this is the part where somebody hides things in towels.
Yeah.
Bill hides the thing where he he's got like a little can of Diet Coke and a little thing of like I don't know alcohol or whatever, and he puts the alcohol in the Coke, and then he hides the alcohol in the towels. Then he takes a couple drinks of the Coke, and he hides the whole can of Coke in the towels sideways. I might add.
Oh no!
I do not remember this scene.
Yeah, sorry, I got my elevator with towel cart scenes mixed up.
Yeah.
Our good boy Max would never do such
Our
a thing.
sweet baby Max, pure of heart.
Our sweet baby Max, pure of heart, is reconsumed by the darkness
Once again,
and rushes out into the rain.
He rushes more.
He rushes more than he ever has before in his life, and he slaps a ladder against the side of Rose's house up to the second-story window of her bedroom, and he knocks on the window, and she opens it up, and Max is like, you gotta help me, I just got hit by a car.
like
And
in person.
somehow this works on Rose because she lets him in and he immediately lays on her bed.
He turns on some music he brought.
He does know he does show that he's like fake bleeding, and she buys the blood.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look, my head's all bloody, and she thinks it's like real, and she goes to like get some stuff to try and help him out. Then he immediately starts being like, hey, so what happened between, like, what's going on with you and like Bill Murray? Like, what's up?
And he's like, gosh, he's just a sad sack of shit. I couldn't keep hanging out with him.
He was fucking sad. He hated himself. He was married. He broke your bike. Sure doesn't know that was in retaliation for attacking him with bees.
Or attacking with bees. Or that,
I mean,
he later on broke his car.
bee-related crimes don't count. That's why. That's what her former husband, the Pain from Metal Gear Solid 3, told her anyway.
Her husband, the Pain, played by Owen Wilson.
So then she's like, yeah, I just think, he sucks ass, like, compared to, like, the drive and, like, shit and stuff going on that my dead husband had. Like, this guy's, like, empty. He sucks.
He's empty.
And then they have a little talk where she's like, oh, yeah, my husband died from drowning. And Max is like, my mom died from cancer. And then Rose leans on top of Max to start wiping the blood off of his head. And Max leans in and kisses her during this moment.
And she let him!
And then she realizes that the blood on his head is fake. And she's like, you can get out of here. You and Murray both are like your children. Get the fuck out of here.
Your children, you deserve each other.
She's like, get out of my house. I'm gonna show you the door. And he goes, I'll take the window.
Also, you go, Derek.
Oh, well, I sort of had trouble picking up on what Jason was trying to describe about this scene. I got the sense that he wasn't given a direction on when to kiss her. So he had like to guess in the moment when to do it. So I don't know like how real the reaction was. Because after he kisses her, he does turn his head like he's gonna get another one in, and that's when she pushes back. And I don't know if that's a real reaction from the actor or if this is it was a little hard to tell. I mean, I'm sure they were doing it in the moment, but
I don't know if I thought of it like she lets him because like I guess she does let him, but I think like after like my 10th or so watch of this movie, I think I have enough faith in Rosemary that it wasn't letting him kiss her so much as it was the unbridled, silent confusion and rage that this shit's still happening to her. That she let this fucking freak into her home, specifically lay in the bed of her dead husband, and then let this happen. And she's like, "You need to get the fuck out of my house right now. You need to go. You need to go." And then he climbs out through the window again.
So then we cut to Max and Dirk hanging out. Dirk's like flying a kite, and they're just, as far as I could tell, it was like the gigantic parking lot near a racetrack.
We don't know where this is. They're just kind of shooting the shit, flying kites.
Yeah. And Max finally is like, all right, I did say the hand job thing, but I'm sorry about it. And Dirk is like, I'm sorry for not helping you up after you got punched, man. And then while Dirk's flying his little kite, we see a real cool RC plane flying around, and it's like, whoa.
And it's our friend. It's Margaret.
It's Margaret.
It's our friend.
Margaret. And they get to have a little meet cute about being pathological liars.
Yeah, Max is like, hey, your science experiment was pretty cool, and she's like, oh, I lied about like all of it. I faked my results.
Didn't the Navy buy it and everything? And she's like, yeah, no, they found out I was lying.
Yeah, no. When I did the experiment, the results weren't like it just didn't work, so I just faked all the results.
She would do really well in like actual academia.
Unfortunately.
And it's at this point that Max has realized that maybe he should date in his age range.
Wow, this girl just as fucked up as me.
And Margaret do kind of know what's up, because she does look at Max and go, you've been like a real fucking jerk to me.
Mm-hmm. And I think and you know what? He apologizes, right?
He does.
I didn't have it written down, but I didn't remember.
He acknowledges that he was shitty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he like says specifically I'm sorry, but I also don't know if that's like entirely necessary if the whole point is actually to acknowledge that he fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's better than nothing for sure. Like, it's a big thing for him to admit immediately. And then Dirk asks Max, like, hey, you want to fly this kite for a bit? And Max starts flying the kite, and then he's like, Dirk, you gotta dictate for me. And he starts rattling off about wanting to, like, make a kite flying club.
He just names a bunch of people.
Those are real names. Like, other than Margaret Yang, all those other names are like people Wes Anderson knew.
We can dox them.
Yeah, he doesn't know if every one of them saw the film. Well, his one that's Shoeshine, and Shoeshine is somebody who was like in the Serpico play scene.
I thought it was just a bunch of minor characters.
No, other than Margaret, those are just all like names Wes Anderson knows. And this is also the point a little earlier where Owen calls Dirk the consciousness of the movie. The conscience of the movie, yeah.
I'll believe it.
There's like
I would believe it if only Dirk were a little more hostile to Max and a little less hostile to Herman.
there's like a darkness in Dirk, same as Max.
Mm-hmm.
Though I suppose if he is the conscious of the movie, maybe that's why everyone's so fucked up.
Dirk is our bar. We judge everything else by that.
You were gonna say Noodle, Jack. You were gonna say?
I was going to say, I would like to simply point out, this is where in my notes I say this is the second West movie I've seen where someone's life is effectively ruined entirely by their own avoidable actions.
You may notice a little bit of a trend here and there with that.
I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit of a trend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do continue.
Yeah, I think this is. I think we're finally at the point where Max gets it together.
Yeah, and I believe it's somewhere around here that it is also like the page has turned and it's like January maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Something along.
And so we're back
somewhere in like a montage of this all. We do see him like writing another play, and we notice that we notice that he writes it, by we noticed two things in this moment. I guess we didn't immediately bring it up, but his house where he lives is right next to the grave site where they have his mom, and that he writes his plays by the grave by the grave site as like a way inside of a like with a typewriter that was gifted to him by his mother, which is like probably the most heartwarming thing we see Max do as like a character thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
As like a character and like as a child,
Mm-hmm.
like
it's probably the moment of the film that reminds you that this is a 15-year-old boy and not a dark and twisted serial killer.
So a little before that montage, we are shown Bill Murray again. He really looks like shit. And he's meeting Max outside of the barber shop. And Max, as this is our moment where, Max has come back to the light. He's getting it back together. He's realizing, and I think it's important to note in a way, like as we're joking about this, but like I think this is also kind of indicative of like this is kind of the moment where like Max is realizing like the things he actually wants for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, now he's like, okay, I don't fucking hate Bill Murray. And he gives Bill Murray a gift where he like busts out these little badges that he earned at Rushmore, and he's like, here, you pick whether you want perfect attendance or punctuality, and then we can each wear this and we can both carry a little bit of Rushmore with ourselves.
And then he also
and they're hanging out.
Yeah, and he lets him get himself cleaned up, right? And
he takes him in.
He takes him into his dad's barber shop, and this is the first time he meets his dad because he's been hiding his dad from his adult friends and all of Rushmore because he doesn't want people to know that he's a barber and son and not a brain surgeon son. And I think there's also kind of a moment here where Bill kind of realizes that was a lie, and something kind of clicks in his head about Max. Not in a way that makes him, like, hate him, but in a way that, like, gives Max sympathy to Mr. Bloom.
Yeah, because, like, they do kind of start, like, hanging out again and, like, being chill with each other, and we kind of get, like, the note that they're for better or worse, gonna try and build the aquarium for real this time, to the tune of like 7 million of Bill Murray's dollars.
I'm taking all your money again, Herman, and now we're gonna be best friends.
How much money?
Yeah,
he's like, how much money are you worth, Herman? You go, Derek.
Okay, so there's a note here when they were doing the buddy montage with Bill Murray. Jason was told, just you go have fun. You have fun. You do your thing, and Bill will follow your direction. So when they're running like through the factory and all that, that's Jason like improving what to do, and Bill's following his lead. Jason had a lot of fun with that, and his best moment was when he and Bill do the wheelies simultaneously.
Very cute, I suppose. Not a thing. Not a thing I think I would say about Rushmore, but I guess very cute.
10 out of 10. Feel good?
Feels good. Feel good. Coming of
No.
age.
Well, here's where we get another like gut punch of these two are still kind of fucking clods because so the reveal of him having his typewriter and him writing stuff by the graveyard is that he's writing up a letter to invite Rose to the opening of the real aquarium, like the beginning of the real aquarium, which she does not come to. And then Max like finds her somewhere else, and she's like, I didn't ask anybody to build me a fucking aquarium. To which Max goes back to his old standby and asks, would your dead husband build you an aquarium?
Still has darkness in his heart.
This somehow works.
He built the aquarium for you.
And then Max gets to have a little bit of hold of Bill Murray's like credit card or whatever the fuck, because he goes to buy real ass dynamite. And then immediately after buying real ass dynamite, where is he? That's right. He's back at Rushmore. And he's shooting Buckin in the ear.
We thought he was going to go and blow Buckin up with TNT.
Sadly, the shot. You know, I guess more gratefully because again, Buckin's so fucking real, and we all love Buckin, and we would never want anything to happen to dear poor Buckin. The shot to the ear. Also, Buckin already has like a hole in his ear, so like it's kind of like adding salt to the wound. But but he shoots him in the ear to get his attention, and he offers Buckin a hand of peace and goes, Buckin, I want you in my next play. To which Buckin says, I've always wanted to be in one of your stupid plays.
And then, in classic fashion, we immediately cut to the night of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose has been deliberately sat next to Herman because, next to Bill Murray, because that's what Max wanted. And Max opens this play by dedicating it to his dead mother and Rose's dead husband. And then everybody is warned that there's hearing protection as the play starts.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a war play, and there's so many explosions that are real.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely remember that fucking Herman is a war veteran.
Uh-huh.
He was in the shit.
He was in the
He
shit.
was literally in the shit.
He was in the shit.
He's a Vietnam soldier.
There's even a point in the play when they bust out a fucking flamethrower. And Rose and Bill Murray kind of go out in the rain and they have a little chat that I did not note down here what it was about.
They're talking about how Max was doing a good job.
Yeah.
And it also is like, it is to note that I do think that he during the intermission where he does go outside to have a moment to himself right outside the rain, that is, as far as I'm concerned, him having a PTSD attack.
We can't know for sure, but maybe.
I think he was crying. I think he...
apparently I have it here that he cries after that, which does feel a bit strange, but like...
I get.
I think we're meant to read it as something along the lines of like, oh, it was such a good play, but like, I don't, I don't think that is the response that we would expect.
I think that it's from Herman specifically. It's not that it's just like
Yeah.
it's a good play. It might just be like, wow, he really did it. This really feels like Vietnam. I'm freed. I feel free. But like that's like not a thing.
Accurately portrayed Vietnam. My soul can rest.
My soul can rest. but like a normal. I'm going to choose to interpret it as he's crying because he's having a trauma response to having to like because Max so accurately depicted war and the loss of comrades.
Because of his beautiful and accurate depiction of all the blood and guts and horrors of Vietnam, everybody loves the play. And it's important to note that one of the final things of the play is that he got Margaret to play a character who he asks to marry as the play ends.
Mm-hmm. And also that they are dating by the end of the film.
Oh, are they actually?
Yeah.
Thing I did not notice.
Yeah, like she says, someone when they're because at the end of the movie, after this, where everyone's just like having like their like celebration.
Yeah, they're milling around.
They're milling around
chilling, yeah.
and chilling. They get to the dances, and I think someone looks at one of them and goes, "Hey, can I borrow your girlfriend and or boyfriend for this next dance?" Fucking, what is it?
Because it was Bill Murray dances with her.
Yeah, Bill Murray says, "Can I borrow your girlfriend for this dance?"
and he's initially like, "Oh, well, she's not." Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, "Yes, I am," and she's like, "No, I don't want to dance with you." To which he goes, "No, it's okay. He's my friend."
We also see a brief moment of Max's dad having some charisma with a school teacher, putting his cool guy schmoves on.
We also
actually wasn't it teacher? Wasn't it Mrs. Guggenheim?
I think it was
no. It was the public school teacher.
It was the public school teacher.
Right,
also, other thing to note about Max's dad is that the OR Scrubs boy, the OR they Scrubs guy. Played by Luke Wilson, is also invited to the play because this is kind of just Max trying to make amends for everyone he's wronged throughout the movie by showing them a really cool play he made. And he's talking to his dad, and he's like, "So, I heard you're a brain surgeon." And Max's dad just goes, "Yeah, a lot of people think that."
I can't imagine why.
Can't imagine why. But I think the movie ends with everyone dancing. Margaret and Mr. Bloom are like dancing together, and so it's Rosemary and Max, and they dance together, and it cuts away from them as they're everyone's doing their victory dances, and it goes to credits, right?
Yeah. Max chats with Rose a little bit, and he kind of tries to play it off like, well, I didn't actually get hurt that bad, really. And then, although Max still has a song that he specifically picked out to dance with Rose, but she's like, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. And also,
sure, fuck it. You seem like you're normal now.
He does get hurt in the film, right?
Oh yeah.
In the play?
Yeah, in the play.
Play, yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is why she asks the question of, are you hurt? And he's like, I didn't get hurt that bad.
So
he's actually being cool a little bit.
Unfortunately.
Max calling to the oh wait, I do have a note here that was an actual flamethrower that Dirk had during the movie.
Oh shit!
Fuck yeah!
They let the youngest
let that child have a flamethrower.
They let the youngest character in the movie use a real flamethrower. I guess that So how did the baby feel with it? Was he upset in the same way that the Bottle Rocket boys were upset when they shot real guns,
I don't get.
or did this spark something dark in Dirk's actor?
I'm not sure, but Dirk was the person who played Dirk was famous for playing in the '90s Dennis the Menace earlier.
Oh, I see.
I see.
And
Did that
and
Dennis
Wes,
really
Versed.
become a menace?
and Wes was like, I wasn't sure about casting this guy because Dennis the Menace was just a little rascal, a little comedy thing. What am I going to do with this kid? But no, the actor who played Dirk is really good at what he does. He's a phenomenal actor.
Wonder what he's doing now.
Max, so that DJ Max says to, hey, play this song. I had asked this during the last movie. I was like, what kind of name is Dignan? And some of you guys said, it's probably a last name.
Yeah, it is an Irish surname.
Yeah, so it was named after Wes Anderson's friend Steve Dignan, who was in this movie as the DJ. And he was also in Bottle Rocket as one of the bookstore employees, the one who's just sort of on the ground, just sort of covered in books.
The
Fucking-
fucking web, the connections. It's all connected.
We wouldn't have known this without your help, Derek. Thank you for going above and beyond.
Being our chief investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Blowing. Okay, so there was a point where they had to blow tiny crystals into Max's eyes to make them look puffy, and this was described as an obsolete technique these days.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
Blowing crystals into... That's terrible.
That's insane.
You shouldn't.
The Rushmore school was shot at Owen's and Wes's real actual school. The hotel clerk, when Bill Murray says, "I'm being sued for divorce," is a former classmate of Wes, who and the classroom where it opens is the classroom where that classmate teaches.
Oh.
And this one I don't think you're gonna like. Wes thinks if he saw Rushmore at age 15, he would see Max as a role model.
Uh-oh.
I think that's just a degree of self-awareness because, like, I mean,
Look at him. Look at him. If you were...
yeah, maybe you would. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. I think what he's saying is, I was not a good person at 15.
Folks, I don't think I've ever seen what Wes Anderson looks like, so I have to go. Huh.
Oh, he's like these days. He's got this look to him. When he was making these films, he had a different look to him.
Yeah, well, that does happen when people age, Derek.
Well, no, I don't mean it's not like an age thing. It's more like when I see him now, he's got like shoulder length hair and all that. And in the earlier interviews, he's got like a kind of like a pompadour kind of thing going, and he's wearing glasses.
Uh-huh.
It's sort of like when you see the difference between Weird Al of the '90s and Weird Al of today, you know?
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, fair enough. Folks, how'd we like the film?
I'd watch it again.
I think that it was compelling in a not very good way.
It's
Compelling in a way that does not fill my heart with love, but instead fills my heart with a little more distaste for anyone who is 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a very, like, I do think the coming of age story thing is accurate. And I think kind of one of the standout things with that is that we have, like, Max as a character can dedicate himself to things, like, very fully and put a shitload of effort into them.
Mm-hmm.
but he has no idea what he wants out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. He is.
Which is like, and like we see that in the clubs, and then that is reflected when he decides, oh well, obviously I need to get a woman.
He is very driven, but he is unfortunately still aimless despite this.
Yeah.
And when given some reason to allow himself to get more respect, he immediately drives towards that thing, having no idea what it actually means for him or anyone else.
Yeah. I'd say that this is like so many other Wes films, or at least like the only other Wes film that we have watched as part of this podcast anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excellent character study. It's an excellent like exploration of just a guy.
I don't think every just a guy generally tries to kill people.
You know what?
Just a
Austin's
guy
just
just a guy is the wrong way to phrase it, but like it's
of just one person.
of just one person, and going into just how truly insane. It's very character driven,
Mm-hmm. Incredibly.
more so than like the entire plot, the entire narrative is surrounding just the actions and consequences of this one fucking kid.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very Wes-like, I feel.
The entire central conflict, the entire everything, it's all just this one dude who fucking I don't know.
It's
I
not
really
a kid in the
appreciate
story. It's a story about a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is a 10 out of 10 coming of age
10 out of 10, feel good.
coming of age
Movie of the
story of the
summer.
summer.
We, for reference, for the viewers at home, I've shown Rushmore many times to many friends, and at some point, one of the viewings, I decided to look up a review for Rushmore, that. It's the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes that claims Rushmore is that says this cult favorite is a quirky coming-of-age story with fine off-kilter performances from Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray. And my brain warped this into being like, this is a 10 out of 10 coming-of-age, feel-good movie of the summer for people back in the 90s.
I've been hearing Soup say this for years! Literal years!
Uh-huh.
Before finally seeing it
Mm-hmm.
for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that is the
And the
impression
thing that makes me angry is I kind of believed him.
I sort of get that impression reading reviews at the time that, you know, there were people who were very excited to see this film and really liked it.
I think it's also like an accurate thing of like Wes to say like, oh, if I saw this, I would have thought of this character as a role model, and it's like there probably were a bunch of teenagers who saw this and thought that because, and like, not necessarily that he's a good role model, but you know, as it was stated, like this is kind of something that's being shown like sort of from the viewpoint of a teenager who's like, I don't get all this shit, really.
No.
And if you yourself don't have this context and don't get all this shit, then probably you would look at that and go, this is less unacceptable than if I had a whole lot of fucking life experience that contextualizes this in a super uncomfortable way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You go. You go.
Oh, well, you know, I don't think I feel like there's sometimes a panic when you guys talk about Rushmore sometimes, and I guess
A panic?
I don't know if like
I
the way
understand
you
what you're saying, I think.
kind of the way you were talking about it just now, Noodle. I guess I don't know if it's panic, but like you're afraid of the film or something, or
No, I'm not afraid of the film. I just look at it and I think of the things that I heard about it for years from Soup and thinking, God, there's no way that this there's no way that this movie can be good. And looking at it and thinking, for a movie about a kid who's just a shitty person, this is kind of a good movie.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad that Soup was right.
Mm. Yeah, no, it is I do like Rushmore, I think, overall.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's
It is.
it's a strange one, but I think I really appreciate it as a character study. And I think between this and Bottle Rocket, I think it does a better job as a character study.
It certainly does. It has a lot more memorable moments. It keeps your attention. At least it keeps my attention a lot easier.
I think also, if I can just compare with Bottle Rocket, I think that the fact that he is 15 makes all of the viscerally uncomfortable, horrible shit more palatable, because you're looking at that and you're like, okay, but he is stupid
He is
and a
15.
child and has not, like, he doesn't really get it. Whereas
Meanwhile,
Anthony,
meanwhile in Bottle Rocket, we had to come away with that movie going, this movie would probably feel a lot better and not change very much if all of the characters in it were in their, like, 15 to 10-year-old age bracket.
I look at Bottle Rocket, I'm like, Anthony, you need to stop. She's working.
she has a job, Anthony. But yeah, no.
She's not allowed to be mean to you because she's working. Except that's also, I mean, not entirely true. But
also, whereas we needed Austin to do like a rewatch of Bottle Rocket to truly get Anthony as a character, I feel like this movie does a clearer job at establishing what's up with Max.
I think we got it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get it. They give you little smack rolls of it throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm. So like overall, I would say that not that there's gonna be like a tier list, but if we were to make a tier list, I would probably put Rushmore above Bottle Rocket as it stands.
Certainly.
Not that
as it stands, I would probably put Rushmore just at like the B or C tier in the sense of like this is just a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is just good.
Mm-hmm. I think I would put Rushmore lower, if only because I know what Wes can do, and I know that he can do better. Though I think Rushmore is like a very core, like it is Rushmore, whereas Bottle Rocket is kind of not. Rushmore is what I think is like the DNA of all further Wes Anderson films.
It is like the progenitor, the root species.
Mm-hmm. And for that alone, I think it gets some praise, and I think it does do a pretty good job. And I don't think while Wes does reuse the trope of a character's life is ruined because of their own mistakes, I don't think he's ever made another character that is the protagonist that is as evil and as dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say he definitely has made a character in one of the future films, but I guess he's not like
Not the protagonist.
he's not the protagonist. He's not the focal.
Mm. There are villains in future Wes movies that I think are as bad as Max. I feel like
you don't.
And like non-villains, but not like the person we should be sympathizing with.
Yeah.
Is I guess the way I don't want to get into it until we watch it.
Yeah, because I haven't seen most Wes Anderson films. Before this podcast, I had only seen Grand Budapest Hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and I will get to be seeing that again sometime.
Yeah. Oh, were you going to say something, Derek?
You don't think like Max, redeemed himself by the end or anything?
Oh,
Do you he's, like, really-
I think he definitely redeems himself in the film. Sure, I just don't think that I just don't think that any protagonist gets as low as Max does.
Oh, okay.
I would argue about Max quite redeeming himself.
Well, in the
I don't
narrative,
think he's like.
well,
I mean, in the
The
narrative,
redemption
he
isn't the
was.
point.
that's
He develops. He changes into a person who is not the person who he was, which is explicitly
That is
better.
true. That is true.
I'm not saying and everything was okay, because that's not the point.
I think the movie. No, I would argue that the movie definitely does want to say and everything was okay at the end.
It definitely is trying to tell you that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think everyone else acknowledges he's a fucking teenager and nothing he did was like permanently damaging. Well, that's not true.
He got lucky none of it was.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Like that, the things that were permanently damaging were bound to happen anyway, I guess. Insofar as he did ruin Herman's marriage. Herman's marriage was already ruined, but he did like he did give the impetus for the divorce to actually happen.
Also, I would say, by the end of the movie, we do see that Dr. Guggenheim is in a chair, so in like a wheelchair.
Hold on.
That's true. Oh yeah. So there's that. Max's dad is like hitting it off with Guggenheim's wife, who like they seem to be into it.
Well, no,
No, it's the school teacher.
No, the
this
school
keeps
teacher.
happening.
we just really
The
wish it
teacher's
was
an
good.
old lady.
We all wanted to
We
be
just-
Guggenheim's wife.
We want him to be
Hold on.
Guggencuck so
We
bad.
want
No,
him-
it's the public school teacher.
We want him to get.
Oh,
his
We,
dad hits it off
oh
with.
shit! You're right.
we want
you're right.
Guggen cucking. I don't know. At the end of the day, I kind of think to myself. I think to myself often, especially as we watch the old West films. I sit there and I go, I wonder how Max is doing now. wonder what that guy's up to these days. Sometimes a thought that crosses. I hear he's the
Trying to
spot.
think about it.
Like West doesn't do sequels, but like, I don't know. While we still have, while he has Jason on call, why don't we get a Rushmore too with Max as like a 42-year-old man. I just want to see what that guy's up to these days. I think it'd be interesting.
No, Zach, you can't say that on here.
No, go on. No, was it? Were you gonna say something about the KKK?
No, I was gonna say something about chasing gilf pussy.
It's a gilf pussy. Oh no! He goes back to his. Dirk, forgive me. He says at Dirk's grave, I'm going back to the old me.
I've decided to return to the darkness.
I return to the darkness, and he takes he takes Dirk's corpse out of and he rips off some of the clothes that he was buried in. He rips it up and wraps it around his head like a fucking what do they call it? What do they call it when you wrap like a bandana around your head?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like Rambo, like Rambo.
Like a headband.
Yeah, he wraps a piece of Dirk's clothing around his forehead like a headband, and he goes out to the fucking. He goes to an old folks home. to go hunt and kill pussy.
Sue,
Yeah.
you're not well, bud.
Folks, thanks for going on this journey of the West with us. I hope we all had a good time. We had a good time listening. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month for
We'll see you West time.
We'll see you
Oh,
We'll see you
West.
We'll see you West month for Wes's next movie and the final film of which he works with Owen Wilson as a co-writer, and the last film that Luke Wilkinson is ever in with Wes Anderson directing, The Royal Tenenbaums.
The last film Luke Wilson is ever in.
Something happened.
It's a Wesson. It's a big West one, I'll tell you that. I won't say much more on it, though. We'll see you West time, and I hope you all learned a valuable lesson.
Valuable Wesson?
Yeah,
Valuable lesson.